levels to the shit.
Yo, 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 yo. What's going on, people? So sorry we are late. So sorry. Mates, can you hear me?
I'm here.
Cool. Yen just jumped out. I don't know what happened to Yen. Sorry, guys. The special guest, she will be back. Don't know where she popped off to. Anyways, how you today, bro? How's life?
Oh, I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good. Yeah. Life is good. You know, like Drake
Okay.
said,
Life is good
life is
indeed.
good. Like Drake said.
Indeed.
So good day
Is
off.
this is one conversation you've been looking forward to.
I've been looking forward to it. I'm not gonna lie. Um,
Any particular reasons?
no, it's just like because as a black guy,
Mm.
discrimination is real, bro.
It's really real.
It's real.
It's
So
really real. And it's I guess it's if from our standpoint, it's good to have somebody from the legal side of stuff coming on and actually just probably clearing up a couple of misconceptions,
of course,
stuff like that. Who knows? Who knows what we'll find out tonight?
yeah.
But yeah, it'll be all good. It'll be all good. Evening DJ, what's going on? Some people in the chats. Thank you everybody for bearing with us. It's my fault. I was running late from work today, but hospital life, guys. Hospital life. This is what happens.
Yeah.
And
Commitments, commitments,
yeah,
commitments, commitments,
unfortunately, and then yeah, that's it. Um,
commitments, man.
but one second, just bear with me. Um, so what do you plan to actually get from tonight's conversation, bro?
Oh, like just I don't know, just more insight because it's obviously nice to like hear other people's
Mm,
side of the story as well,
mm-hmm,
and to not be in my cabin. In my cabin, usually I'm usually like last week I was in the damn cabin.
mm,
Tonight I'm actually back at home, as you can see.
yeah.
Um, so I'm not gonna lie. I tell you what, one thing I'm planning. This is a little bit off topic, but when I move house,
Mm,
I'm looking. I don't want to say it too loud. I would love to get one of those containers, you know, like the box part containers.
yeah. Why?
Slap it in the backyard and just go hammer them. That'll be my little safe space with the decks.
Mm,
Invite a couple people around, just throw a little mini
yeah,
DJ session.
why
I mean,
not?
everyone just throws down a couple tunes in that, you know.
And let's have a little bit of a party, I guess.
A little bit of a party. Get Uncle Ray when I can
Bro,
when I
Uncle
could,
Ray. You looking to
bro.
destroy the party with Uncle Ray?
Listen, anybody out there that knows about Uncle Ray,
It's the biggest bully ever.
oh, bro, Uncle Ray.
Yo, hey Sinead, what's good? Been a long time. There's a lot of people, right? I haven't heard from in a while. But yeah, Uncle Ray, nah.
Nah, you know
AKA
what?
Devil Juice.
Devil juice, bro. Devil
Devil
juice.
Juice, man.
But
That's
you only need a couple. You only need a couple, man. You only need a couple.
bro, a couple. Some people out here having one shot and they're done.
Done out here because it is serious. It is very
It
serious.
is.
If you're a rum drinker and you don't drink Uncle Ray, try
There's
it.
nothing wrong with you. Nah, there's something wrong. If you haven't tried Uncle
Try
Ray and
it.
you're a rum drinker, you don't really drink rum, do you?
Nah.
You don't. Like I'm more like the dark rums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, but Uncle Ray is the exception. Yo, what's going on, Tash? Everybody, if you don't know Tash, Tash is one of the main people behind Levels. Big up, big up. She's actually struck down with Rona right now. So
Yikes. Get well, Tash.
yeah, I know. Unfortunate, but big up yourself, Tash. We'll get you on soon, innit? Well, I wanted to get her on today as well to join us.
Mm.
Because Tash, please correct me if I'm wrong, but you had a stint working as a probation officer, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, Tash. But so she would be another one who would raise brilliant questions um
Mm.
in this topic. But
Big convo. Big convo.
it is as I said, I'm mega excited because it's just an interesting one to be had right now. Um, so yeah, let's get Yan in here.
Oh,
Yo,
God.
Yenny.
Oh, it's work. Sorry, I had to do a madness
That's
with
all right.
my hotspot and stuff, but okay, I'm in.
That's all right.
Back. You're back.
Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, this is our special guest of the evening. Who's setting the levels tonight? Introduce yourself, please.
Who? Oh, me.
You're your special guest.
it's you, man. You've been there a while still.
Sorry, I'm not with it. I'm Yen, basically. Do you want me to do the whole shebang?
Do the whole spiel. Give them the whole spiel. Tell them who you are, what you do.
Okay. Oh, I'm Yen. I'm a criminal defence solicitor. I've been qualified for about 2 years now. So yeah, not that deep within the game, but I've been doing criminal law for quite a while. Studied it at university, and yeah, here I am.
What made you want to get into it first and foremost?
I want to say that I don't like arguing, but I feel like it's a good way to get to the bottom of things and to find the truth.
You like the discussion behind things and delving into that. I get you.
But also it's the accountability stuff. So, you know, if you're a member of the public and you're going up against the state who have all these resources, like the police need to be accountable, even the prosecution, like they need to, obviously they're trying to incriminate you and find a conviction against you. So I want to be able to make sure there's a level playing field, to make sure the police are doing their job, the prosecution are doing the job. Like we've heard of so many instances where there's innocent people being convicted. So I just want to make sure that there is a level playing field, and yeah, that members of the public don't have the resources that the state has. So yeah, that's what I'm there to do.
Cool. Dan, you got any questions to start off with?
Oh,
go straight to you, bro. Because as I said, you've been gassed for this one, so you go for it.
Okay, so let's go straight in. Do you feel, in your opinion, so something I read up on the other day. So there's a lot of people out there. They go in for minor offences. They get bailed, then they get rebailed, and they might even get rebailed again. Okay, this could be like a 3-4 month process over something very, very simple. And it turns out that a lot of the people that are going through this kind of thing are from sort of like ethnic minorities and stuff, right? Do you think there's sort of like at times like an agenda towards people from a certain background, or have you come across any instances like that?
What agendas from like the police?
Yeah, from the police.
I think we all know that young black males are targeted way more than any other racial group, like whites, Asians. I think I can't remember what the stats were, but it's like 9 times more likely to be stopped and searched. So we know already, that's facts, isn't it? Like we know young black males are more likely to be stopped. In terms of an agenda, I can't really say whether it's everyone in the police force sort of thing has this agenda, or the whole state has an agenda. Because I have had cases where my clients have been black or white or Asian, and the police just, I feel like the police have an agenda, because they could easily show some compassion and be like, what is the point of arresting this particular person, putting them through basically the criminal justice system? Because we all know it ends up in a circle, so which is very hard to get out of if you're from a particular background. So yeah, I don't know if I can say in my personal experience whether there's been an agenda.
Okay.
Because I've had it where my clients have been from all different backgrounds, and the police just act like, I don't want to say it, but they could be better.
Do you think it's like a class? I think it's a class thing. Do you think if someone went in there that was, let's say, sort of like a banker, and he got caught with some cocaine, small bit of cocaine. Him and his pals are doing up a little party, and they decided to get some cocaine. Something happened. He got arrested. Do you think him going in there for something like that, he's going to be treated better than a young black boy, let's say, with a small bag of weed that gets caught smoking it with his pals? Do you think? Do you think there's going to be a clear...
What, the system treating them better, or
the system and the police, you know, how they deal with the situation?
The thing is, with that comparison, so like, I don't know if we say like a middle-aged white male like banker compared to a young boy caught with a bag of weed, those two situations they're completely different anyway. So in terms of convictions, I don't think one's going to be more likely to be convicted over the other, because if this white banker is caught with some cocaine, most likely he's going to be just purely in possession of cocaine. If we're looking at the young black male in possession of weed, then both of them will probably just get a conviction for possession. Like, I don't think the white banker, no, in my personal experience anyway, he wouldn't be let off.
Right.
He wouldn't. I know that.
The thing is, it's like, because I hear stories like that. I hear stories from white friends where it's like they get treated differently for simple things like drug offences or even being drunk. I myself, as a black male, has gone through some incredible things. And you know what it is? You gotta laugh. You've got to laugh, because it's like, if you don't laugh, I don't know, the darker side to it is just different. But I mean, I got arrested once for trying to stop someone from beating up another guy. Like, it was more like they got to the scene, and I was trying to talk to the officer, just like, he had no interest in finding out who was fighting or what had gone on. Before I knew it, I just got slapped up and thrown in the police station. So incidents like that kind of makes me question, you know, with me being probably the only black guy there at the time. And if my boy Steve's listening, I think he was there, so you can vouch. But I just look at situations like that and I just think, if I was a white guy, would it have gone that far? I mean, nothing actually happened. They just kind of rounded me up, which I found quite weird. They rounded me up, took me to the police station, and then they let me out like 10 minutes later. I was just like, this is a very, very odd situation.
Yeah, I think in that situation you're talking about, because, okay, so I think prior to an arrest, definitely, I think if you're the black person in a situation, in a group of, say, white people, you probably will get targeted.
You know what? In fact, I've got an even better, sorry to cut you, an even better example. And so, Kofi will tell you, I'm a DJ. So before COVID, I was DJing, across Shoreditch for a bit. And Kane could absolutely back this up. Me and Kane are standing in the corner, as we do after our sets, just catching up on how the night went outside the venue. And these two white guys were fighting. Let me tell you the story. These two white guys were fighting. They had a black friend. Had a black friend who was getting between them to say no. And this one guy was being really aggressive to the other guy. So the guy was trying to hold him. The police turned up, and I kid you not, and I had to ask them myself, they instantly went for the black guy, witnessed by Kane and a couple other people. And I looked at him, I was like, did you see that? He's like, I'm not losing my mind. That genuinely happened, where they rocked up. Two people were clearly fighting or about to tear each other apart. There's one friend that's black that was trying to stop the situation from happening. They grabbed him. He was holding one guy back. They grabbed him. Instantly went for him. So I said to the officer, like, what did you see? Because from standing where I was standing, I saw one person trying to stop the other person. One of them happened to be black. You went for that guy first without really asking any questions. You just went in. He was like, but then he started to panic because they had their cameras on. So the whole thing was, and I was questioning why the cameras on. So he started to panic and he started to backtrack a lot. and I could just tell that he had a weird little bias towards the black guy, right? And I questioned him about it, and he didn't really have any clear-cut answers. He eventually got to the point where he's like, it's because the black guy was a big guy. I said, but the white guy was much bigger and much taller than him. So that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So situations like that, for me, in my eyes, that's a clear-cut situation where,
Yeah, I definitely think so. Before it reaches court, so I think once you get into the criminal justice system, so where after you've been charged, taken to police station, interviewed and charged, after that point, I think people are treated quite fairly. Right. So once it reaches court, but before court, just in general, definitely, I think black people are treated with a lot more prejudice than other races, and I don't even need to speculate. Like you guys are, you guys experience it day in day out. So I don't even need to say anything. Like the facts are there. We hear it all the time. So it's not even anything that.
Do you think it's a system? Not system. What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, systemic.
You think it's a systemic thing? You think it's like a culture? Because from some of the research that I've been doing, because I've actually been quite interested in trying to find out what's going on and why some of this stuff's still going on. Do you think it's sort of like just a culture where at one point there was propaganda maybe spread about a group of people, and it's just carried on for a number of years, and now that is just almost like the norm?
What, in terms of like discrimination against black people in general?
Yeah.
Boy, I really don't know. Like, I'll be honest. Like, I can't tell you. I haven't done my research to tell you where it possibly stemmed from. The only thing I can think of, obviously, is dating back to slavery times.
It goes back a while.
Like, it does couple of 100 years of that, like I don't know what else it could be.
But for me, I feel like it's 2020. We were blessed to have more light being brought to the situation in general about just how black people are treated in general, and but I kind of just feel like, if anything, 2020 has kind of tipped it in the wrong direction. It's kind of created more of a divide, and it's kind of taken it where we didn't want it to go.
Why'd you say that in terms of?
Because what's happening is a lot of people are doubling down on their views. A lot of people are not changing their views. And I think with the whole, like what happened last year with all the protests and all that kind of stuff, I think a lot of people that maybe were on the fence, they probably got tipped over the other side a little bit with the media and stuff. But a lot of people don't really do their own research. They're just going to listen to what's been sent to them in a WhatsApp chat or whatever, some dodgy media outlet says. So a lot of people that were maybe on the fence before kind of just got pushed in the wrong direction. I feel like a lot of people did come over and was like, damn, I didn't really understand that there was discrimination to that level that was going on. Even my partner, she didn't really know. She didn't understand a lot about it. She kind of knew, but just assumed that, everybody got treated fairly.
Okay.
But I feel like, unfortunately, from my experience, in a lot of situations, not just with the police, the discrimination, it's been constant. And I feel like last year we definitely had added some new people to the fight as well. So yeah, that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just gonna ask you just a very general question. Actually, no, flip the question. So we're currently, obviously, when people talk about racism and discrimination, people automatically think to black people, right? Obviously, you're of an Orient. What is your background? You're Vietnamese, you said, right?
Yeah, Vietnamese.
So you're Vietnamese. But what are the kind of stereotypes that you see, probably amongst that maybe your cousins might receive or talk about, or even yourself might talk about? Because as I said, obviously black people, we're black, or we're going to talk from our standpoint. I'm very conscious of, obviously, there's Oriental, there's Southern Asian, there is, what else is there? What else are people there? There's Polish people who get a certain rap. There's Romanian people who get a certain rap. Like, there's discrimination against all the people, but we'll get to those people. But you're here with us now. What type of discrimination do you personally experience?
It's mainly like stupid, ignorant comments and microaggressions. Just constantly. Actually, it's not happened so much now. A lot when I was a lot younger, like college, university. Just stupid, ignorant comments, like you can imagine, like ching chong, or commenting about my slanted eyes. And I remember this one time I was in South Kensington by the museums and stuff. I was getting on a bus, and I asked the bus driver if it went to where I was trying to go. So I was like, does it go to this place? And even the bus driver, he was like, oh, your English is good. You speak English well.
We touched on this a while ago. I remember speaking.
Yeah. And I'm like, why wouldn't it be? Do you know what I mean? Why would it not be? I don't understand. But obviously I knew what he was thinking. Oh, an Asian looking woman, like how can you speak, just thinking I'm a foreigner straight off the bat. So I just like to challenge them a little bit and make them feel stupid. But those are the type of things that I get. And that's the main thing. It's like, oh, you can speak English well.
The thing, like touching on a bit of what Mace was saying before about where things stem from and the systemic nature of racism, as to say, to a certain extent. Do you think the level of ignorance that people just have, obviously affects it, but why do you think people almost refuse to kind of understand something or explore different races? Why do you think that is? I know it's a mad question to ask, because obviously you're part of that minority, but just wanted to put it out there, see what you thought.
I think one is just sort of cultural beliefs, and also how they were brought up. I think most things can be, how do you say it? Most things stem from the way you're brought up.
Yeah, very true.
Like, criminals, people committed criminal acts. A lot of them haven't had a good upbringing. Standard. Something's been wrong. Something's happened while they were young, while they were still children, while they were still learning rights and wrongs and how things work in the world. And obviously the parents or the parental guardians, whoever that may be, will obviously enforce their views and perceptions onto their young, onto their children. So they will grow up with that same mentality or same beliefs. So I think it like I can say, like my mom, my parents, they're still very old school, very traditional. And even her mentality is very ignorant, I should say.
I've got a mad question leading up to this, by the way. Mad. Go on.
Yeah. But I've been very aware. I've been very aware of that. I haven't let my mum sort of dictate the way I think and what I know is right and wrong in the world. But I do think it is that you've just been brought up by certain people who have very prejudiced views.
Unfortunately, where were you born? Were you born here?
Yeah.
No, not a mad. That wasn't a mad question, by the way. That wasn't a mad question.
I was going to be like, wait.
Why would I not be born here? I'm joking. Yeah.
That's probably a question to ask somebody else if it weren't me, though. To be honest. No, the question I'm gonna ask. I have a pal. She's Chinese, right? Don't think she's actually tuned in, so which makes it easier to say. But I'll never forget, she had a boyfriend of, I want to say, 7+ years. Her parents had no idea, right? He was black. Though it was an in and out relationship. Like it should never have happened anyway. That relationship was just toxic for her. Anyway, long story short, they broke up, and then when they got back together, her mum actually only knows me as one of her sole black friends because I actually had to take her home because she was so sick. She calls me the doctor friend randomly, which is good, isn't it?
You are the doctor friend, yeah.
which is good. But then when she told her mum that she had a black boyfriend, her mum was wailing like this is her description. Her mum was wailing like somebody died. Right?
Okay.
My question to you is, what the hell is taught about black people in this is gonna sound crazy in your culture,
Asian countries?
in your Asian culture? Because I will honestly, like, I sometimes when I go, I'm gonna get even deeper and probably even more ignorant. I will go to a Chinese restaurant. Yeah, the level of service I get is disrespectful.
Do you know what? That's just not you. Yeah, it's not just black people. That's everyone.
Oh, okay,
even to
cool.
me.
Okay,
trust
cool.
me.
That's
even
fine.
to
I'll
me,
blind
I
them
get mad
because
disrespect.
I've heard that they're even
sometimes
ruder they might be ruder to someone like yourself because they kind of look down on you in a way for kind of not being like completely like them, I guess, in a way, like traditional, you know.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's my question. Damn it.
Let's hear this, man. I'm ready.
The question was, what is taught in Asian culture about black people?
Oh, sorry.
People felt that she need to wear like somebody died, or even if you marry a married guy or have a black boyfriend, what like kind of then is what then is kind of like thought of it all? What's the perception like? What pressures do you feel and stuff like that? So I've always had it mad.
Yeah, so my partner's black.
Mm-hmm.
So I know exactly the type of situation that your friend's been in. But my mum, I say that my mum's like quite traditional and quite old school, but she's not that bad. Like I've seen Oriental or Asian parents who are a lot worse and just like literally disown their children. But my mum's not like that. She's a lot better. Yeah, properly disown. But I had a conversation recently. So when all this George Floyd stuff kicked off, and I was like, Mum, where are you getting all this from? Like,
yeah.
Trying to understand.
Maria.
Like,
sorry, Maria's my pal, repping Romania. She's got. We'll talk about her in a second, but carry on.
Okay. Yeah, I was just trying to understand because I know, like, if you go back to Vietnam, they'll treat you like royalty. They'll
you personally or me?
Not me personally, like just the Vietnamese locals. If you go over there, they'll and it's out of curiosity, like they'll try and talk to you and they might try and stroke you and stuff, or you know, because they seriously.
So are you talking about black folks going back to Vietnam?
Black, or even white. Even they're just so amazed to see someone who's like basically not Vietnamese there, like a local. And also black people are very rare. They don't really see black people in Vietnam. There's a lot of expats over there who are like of white descent, but you don't really see black people. But there's no racism over there in Vietnam. I know in China it's a bit mad. I know like it's a bit different. I don't know. I don't understand myself where it comes from. It's like speaking to my mum about it. She could not tell me. Where have you come from?
That's the wickedest thing. You hit the nail right on the head, right? So many people right now who are racist, they couldn't even tell you where it stems from.
You know what it is? I think it's the media. I think it's the media.
Listen,
because when my mum was in Vietnam, before she came over, after the Vietnam War, she came over here. I don't think my mum had any thoughts at all about black people. At all.
Yeah.
But then she came over here and it's all the stuff that, because she doesn't she's been here for about 30 years now, but she doesn't speak English very well, but she understands a lot and she does watch the news. So that's the only thing I can really think of in terms of like the sources that my mum gets her information from about people of different like racial backgrounds. Because she doesn't hang around with racist people. Do you know what I mean? She's not hanging around with like Trump supporters.
You know what? I feel like you're right though. I feel like it's definitely the media that kind of they've not given us the best light. You know, they've not kind of portrayed us in the best light. And I don't think they, until last year, I don't think they really wanted to either. Like, it was just kind of just like a meh, like we're gonna run with this. Because let's be real, like if you've got a story and it runs and you're a media outlet and the story is, let's say, you know, like coming off the sort of like the discrimination thing for a second, Russia, okay, like let's look at Russia as a country where, you know, Russia's feared, right? A lot of Russians on the ground are just normal people. You know, they're not what we think they are.
Yeah.
But because the media have kind of portrayed Russia in such a way, we all of us think, damn, yeah, we're just scared of Russians because we think Russians are just these crazy, violent people, you know, and they want to, their guy in charge wants to kill us all, which is obviously far from the truth. But that's how I feel like black people kind of looked at in media. It's like, I, for one, have crossed the street. If I see a white girl and it's late, like let's say it's like 8, 9 o'clock in the evening, and I'm walking down the street, I see a white girl, I'm going to cross the street. The reason why I'm going to cross the street is because I understand how I'm portrayed as a black man already. So I do not want to make the situation any worse for myself and for this poor person who already thinks, may already think that I'm this wild animal that's going to just attack her. So
I'm not horrible to even
have
to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you get used to it after a while because it's for me, it's just peace of mind. It's going to make me even angrier if this person starts getting shook and clutching her handbag. You understand what I'm trying to say? So before you even get a chance to clutch your handbag, I'm going to cross the street. I'm going to take myself out of the situation and make sure you don't think that I'm some kind of threat. I'm just trying to get home, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But
for you, like working in the field that you've worked in the short space of time, what's one of the most difficult things you think you have to deal with on a regular basis? Or is there a regular pattern, or is there? Oh, I'm just making it up, because I'm sure there would be regular patterns in some of the things that you deal with.
To be honest, for me personally, it's not what the case is about that causes me issues. It's actually, it's not even that deep. It's clients thinking they can just contact you at all hours of the day and constantly belling off your phone, texting you, just constantly harassing you. That's my biggest gripe about working in criminal law, because they have your phone number, and because it's not like other areas of law where there's a 9 to 5, like you're in the office at this time, contact me during these hours, and that's it. Like with criminal law, people are arrested all you know, hours of the day. You always have to have your phone on. And there's a lot to talk about as well in terms of like the lead up to like a court case, for example, and just constantly having to ask them for information, but also clients just on your case like all the time, and they just don't know when to stop. But it's not always, to be honest. I do have like 1 or 2 who are like difficult clients, but that's my biggest gripe. Like for other lawyers it's probably different, but that's the most annoying thing, which is
one of the things I remember was when we were speaking like last year, or maybe towards the tail end of 2019, was you had to do visits. You had to do what's it called, prison visits, and you used to be there for hours on end. And is it literally like what you'd see on the TV? Like, I'm playing ignorant right now because I genuinely don't know. So say right now I do a madness, and I need a lawyer. Do I just say, cool, this is my lawyer, call Yen, and then you literally come in and we're in a holding cell or some kind of room and they interrogate you? Is it actually like that?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
So this is when you've literally just been arrested, you're at the police station waiting for your lawyer. So they just stick you in a cell, like you say, it's a holding cell at the police station. And then if you have a lawyer, if you know the name and like a number of your lawyer, then you just give it to the police officer who's booking you in, or whoever it is, just the officer dealing with your case. And then they'll call me. And they'll be like, Kofi's been arrested. Like, can you represent him? And that's it.
That's it.
And I'll calm down.
Can you see the question across the bottom of the screen?
What laws or rights do you feel people should know in case they are? Oh, there's lots. It depends at what stage. What stage of the criminal justice process are you in? Like just being arrested, before arrested, during like a court case, or?
So let's say again, say Mason's situation, right, where he's trying to break up a fight, or he's been in a fight, yeah, and I don't know, police do X, Y, Z, or they started to incite something or incite a reaction from Mason. There's certain laws, obviously, because they say what you say or do can be used against you, whatever. In those situations, do you advise people to speak or what, or just keep quiet, or state that you can't do X, Y, Z because of this law? Like there should be like some basic, I think, laws or rights you should know, maybe that can help situations, because you see all these videos of people just going mad, and it's not like I'm disagreeing with them, but I can just sit there and think, surely there's something you can say to these officers, because they're abusing their power to shut them the hell up.
There's nothing really written in law. So are you talking about when you're you're trying to?
If you're in an altercation of any kind, if you're in an altercation of any sort, like police will pull you over for no reason. Let's say something general like that. Police pulled me over, and they've got no grounds.
You? Okay.
They've got no grounds, and they just fart like they say, "Oh, we're gonna stop you on anti-terror." It happened to me before. They're gonna stop you on anti-terrorism laws or something like that.
Okay, so with anti-terrorism laws, it's a bit different, because they can literally just pull anyone over. They can stop and search you. It's under section. It's basically it's called Section 60, stop and search, where they can just stop anyone without having any reasonable suspicion that they've done anything wrong. But those are very strict powers, and they're not like general powers. Like police can't just have a Section 60 stop and search all the time. It has to be approved by like senior police members, and it can only be in place for a certain period of time and in a certain area. So you were just in a wrong place at the wrong time.
Probably.
But generally police do need a reason to stop and search you. They can't just they have to have reasonable suspicion that you've either committed a crime, that you're about to commit a crime, or that you are in possession of like a prohibited item, which is either drugs or a weapon. So they have to have reasonable suspicion. But in terms of like trying to I guess not further escalate the situation, you just have to remain calm. Don't give the police any reason to arrest you, because they can act and they can be idiots in these situations. Like, don't give them any excuse. I know it's so hard. It's so hard to try and do that when you're in the midst of it all and you're angry and tensions are high. But just keep asking questions of the police, because they have to obviously be held accountable. So just keep asking questions. What are you arresting me for? If they are going to arrest you, or what are you searching me for? Why have you stopped me? Keep asking questions of the police, and if you can take their details, so the name, their shoulder number. So just make sure they're fully held accountable. Like, even if they don't arrest you, if you want to complain, you can complain about the way you've been treated by the police. You can start a civil suit against them if you want to, but it is very hard. But you just need to remain calm and just ask questions of the police. Hold them to account.
Okay. And in terms of recording, you can record as much as you want, correct? Because I see some people even mad about recording these days as well.
If I remember correctly, you can if it's in a public place. Obviously, just be careful when you're reaching for your phone, to record. If you're reaching in your pockets, just tell the police, look, I'm going to take my phone out to make a recording. And then the police will probably say something like, oh, it's going to be recorded anyway. I've got my body worn video camera on, everything's recorded. Just say to them, just say to them, you know, this is for both of our, for your safety and my safety, that I also record everything that's going on. And hopefully they won't say anything. Like if you act like you know what you're talking about, the police are not likely to try and take the plea. Because I talk about, you know, civil suits against the police. You can complain, but it's a long process. It's unlikely to get anywhere if it's a relatively minor sort of breach of, you know, if it's minor police misconduct. Nothing's really going to happen, and it is a long process. So you're unlikely to even want to bother, you know, complaining against the police.
With that being said, though, like I said earlier, there's a lot of people who get wrapped for very minor offences, but then somehow the police try to take it as far as they can. How do you think there's an imbalance there? So someone's saying they've been treated unfairly by the police, and they try to go down the route of making a complaint and trying to really bring a matter to the courts or whatever. It kind of just gets thrown out or whatever, put to one side. And then the police they will push for almost the maximum for the smallest, slightest things most of the time.
Yeah.
And it normally doesn't go the way the people want it to go.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it's a very fine line, because if you're in a situation where you are getting a bit aggy with the police, you're getting a bit angry because obviously you feel like you've been hard done by, like, you know, why are you being stopped and searched? Obviously you're already a bit agitated. So there are laws where they can easily charge you for obstructing the police, or even assaulting the police, or resisting arrest. Like, there are so many things that they can do you for, even when you're trying to speak to them. I had this matter where the police were trying to arrest someone. They were obviously kicking off, but it was almost it could have turned into a George Floyd situation, where the police, there were like 5 of them just pinning this one guy on the floor. His friends were all around shouting, like, get off him, like, you're hurting him, you're about to break his arm, everything. And the guy is just on the floor struggling because obviously he's in pain. At the end of all this commotion, the police arrest him and do him for quite a lot of things, like assaulting a police, obstruction a police. They get into court, and I'm watching these videos. I've seen the evidence, because you can get body worn video, so that you get sent the evidence. And I don't want to go into too much detail, but the police were saying a lot of things that weren't true, basically.
Right.
A lot of things that weren't true. And then in the end, it was a flip between, do my clients want to bring a case against the police for misconduct, or do they just want to plead guilty to a lesser offence and just get it over and done with?
Right.
And then it was like a bargaining sort of deal. They had to think, well, if I'm going to plead guilty, if they offer me the lesser charge, I can't then complain. It's in the agreement that you can't complain against the police.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a really, really mad one, because you have to decide whether you want to be convicted of a lesser charge, like a really, really minor one. But obviously the police still want their conviction. They don't obviously want to let these people off scot-free. So they say, okay, we'll just get a conviction, but for a very minor offence. But in them agreeing to that, they can't then complain.
Yeah, but then, see, that's the thing. And that's what I meant about earlier, around sort of like the culture. The culture of the police, and where I personally think they need reform. My stance on the police is that they need hella reform. I feel like half of the time they're not, and I've said this on the podcast before, you can't have a guy from Cambridge coming into central London, into Brixton, policing Brixton. He knows nothing about Brixton. He knows nothing about the people. He knows nothing about the history of the area. All he knows is the biased information he's receiving from his colleagues. Okay, so he doesn't know that the Rasta man that sits on the little corner there is harmless, and he's just part of the community. You know, he might turn up to something and automatically think this guy's a threat and treat him in a certain type of way. So I feel like they need a massive reform. And what you've kind of just explained to me is what along the lines of what a lot of people have already said, and some of the stuff that I've read up on and stuff where it's just they always win, basically. They always win, or they find a way for them to win, and you kind of just accept whatever they give you just because, you know. And that I think that's wrong. I think there's so many people out there in situations or with stuff against their name that shouldn't even be there, because it's stuff that could have been thrown out at the very, very early stages. Even arresting them in the first place probably shouldn't have happened. You know,
a lot of I've had so many clients as well who, when I'm taking instructions from them, you know, and then I have to advise them whether to plead guilty or not guilty. A lot of them are like, "Oh, I'll just plead guilty just to get over and done with because I can't be bothered."
That's what they say.
Like, yeah.
Oh man.
They say like, "I'm just going to plead guilty." I'm like, but what you've told me tells me that you're not guilty. Like, this is my advice to you. You what you've told me doesn't show me, doesn't tell me that you're guilty. And based on the evidence that that I've seen, and based on what you told me, I can't advise you to plead guilty. I have to advise you to plead not guilty. But a lot of them are like, no, it's all right. I'm just going to get over and done with. And it's like,
are these reoffenders by any chance who say this, or these first timers?
Some of them are reoffenders. Some of them are.
That's crazy.
Some of them are first-time offenders.
Why do you think people come with such a defeatist mentality? That's mad.
It's because of the police. You already know. You already know. If you've been through it, you already know. You know that they're gonna find a way to win. Basically, they will find, and obviously that's what you do. You're the person that tries to go in there and make sure that they're not winning by ridiculous means, and they're playing it fair. A lot of people just kind of just don't even ask for a solicitor. So people will get arrested and they won't ask for a solicitor. They'll just go, first and foremost, in your opinion, is it a good idea? I think it's a good idea, but do you think it's a good idea to get, when you get offered that representation, to take it? Because a lot of people just don't take it and just go,
100% take it. A lot of people who are also reoffenders think they know the system. Right. Like, they think they know the system, and they're like, no, I don't need a solicitor. I know what I'm doing. But it doesn't even matter that they think they're not guilty, or they think they haven't done it, because there's so much other stuff. There's implications of what you say, what you don't say, what you do, what you don't do in the police station, even before it even gets to court, that can basically have consequences. So if they do decide to take you to court eventually, there's a lot of things that you say or don't say at the police station that could get you in trouble. And even though you don't mean to say it, or for example, they'll say, I don't want solicitor, it takes too long for them to arrive, I've got to wait an hour or two. That's what the police told me. No, like, if you have your own solicitor, or even if it's a duty solicitor, they can probably get there in about 45 minutes. So don't believe what the police are saying about it's going to take 2 hours, because what they want to do is interview the detainee without a solicitor, because they know that a solicitor is going to try and, well, they will try and uphold the police accountable for whatever they're doing. So the police know that the solicitors are always going to stand in the way of what they're trying to achieve. So always ask for a solicitor. We're not going to take 2 hours to get there. It will take about 45 minutes. And also you get to speak to your solicitor before they even get to the police station. And also you're going to be in there for a good few hours anyway. So you might as well take the lawyer. It's free. And if police try to tell you that it's going to take too long or it's cost you money, they're lying, because it doesn't cost you anything to get a solicitor at the police station.
These might try to swindle it, man.
No, you know what it is? If for anybody that hasn't been arrested, I'm gonna bait myself up here. Don't worry about the time, okay? Do not worry about the time. If you're in there and they're gonna drag it out, because they like to sometimes, and it's also because they're quite busy and sometimes you're not that important. So even if it's a minor offense, before you allow yourself to admit to something that they're trying to throw at you, wait for your solicitor, get some proper advice, sit there, even though it's very, listen, it's if you've never been arrested and you're in that cell with no windows, yeah, it's a sticky situation. It's just you and your thoughts, right?
Yeah.
But you can get books, yeah. So if you need books, you can ask them for a book. You can ask them for stuff to read. People do come around and ask you if you're all right. So members of the public do pop around from time to time to see if you're okay, and you're being treated fairly. So don't admit to something that you could be like an aspiring person. You know, you admit to something stupid that could eventually maybe not harm you, but put you, if you're applying for a job, maybe it might put you behind the next person.
Yeah.
Just on something that simple, you know. So
yeah,
stay calm.
Stay calm. Ask for your lawyer. Don't say nothing to the police before they come. Like, that's it. Even if you're that type of person who would want to put your hands up and say, do you know what, I did it, let's just go and done with. Okay, like fair enough. Like you do you. But most of the time you're gonna need a lawyer. Like, trust me, just wait it out. It doesn't take that long, and it doesn't cost you anything. So
it's free.
Next one's for you, Yen, across the bottom of the screen.
How do you defend a guilty client? Okay, yeah, so this is one that I wanted to address because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what criminal lawyers do. I always get asked the question, oh, but if you know they're guilty, how can you defend them? Or how can you defend someone of who's committed such a heinous crime? So I just wanted to clear it up. As criminal defense lawyers, so if your client has told you they're guilty and they've committed whatever offense they're accused of committing, and then they say to me, okay, but I want you to present my case as if I'm innocent in court, I can't do that. No criminal lawyer can do that for you.
Right.
If you tell your solicitor that you're guilty, they can either help you to get a lesser sentence, mitigate on your behalf, present information that will get you a lesser sentence, basically.
Right.
Or if they say to you, I'm guilty, but I want you to defend me and say I'm not guilty, and then you say, no, I can't do it, you have to let the case go. You can't continue to defend them. They have to find another lawyer. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to go to that other lawyer and say, look, this is what he told me, because we still have client and lawyer privilege. So whatever my client tells me at the time that he's a client or she's a client, I can't then divulge it to anyone else without his or her permission. So he or she can still go to another solicitor, but I can't tell them what that client has told me. And then it's up to them if they want to then readjust their instructions to that new solicitor and say, actually, I didn't do it. That's up to them. Yeah. And then that new solicitor can deal with it whatever way, that they're according to the client's instructions. But yeah, I can't. And also, I don't know if they're guilty or not. Like, if they haven't told me they've done it, if I just think they've done it, or that's it's my opinion and based on the evidence and the facts that are presented to me, and I think in my mind that they're guilty. If I'm a member of the jury, and I personally think they're guilty, it doesn't matter. Like, you have to, as a lawyer, criminal lawyer especially, you have to separate your personal thoughts and your professional obligations.
That's crazy hard, man. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I know.
Have you been in that situation before?
Yeah.
Really?
Many times.
You said that convincingly. Right, I couldn't do it. Like, I applaud you because it's you're doing it's something so major, as to say, and you're deciding on whether somebody goes to prison for X amount of time or not. And you're then, if your gut is telling you they did it, you defend them and they get acquitted, right? And then they're back in doing a mazzoline. Then how do you feel after that? Because in your mind and in your heart, you're like, I knew this prick did it. Sorry, not prick. I knew this guy did it.
I don't really care, to be honest. The only thing that really goes through my mind is, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Like, fix up, innit? You've had your chance. You've been arrested. You've had the court case. Like, you've been acquitted. That was your chance. If you had done what you had done, and by luck you were acquitted, or by technicality of law you've been acquitted, like, this is your chance. Why? That's the only thing that goes through my head. Like, why? Like, why are you going to do the same thing? But I don't care. Like, I'm a criminal lawyer, so it doesn't really affect me in any way, really. But I always try and talk to my
your pocket.
No. But it's
not even hard
that,
sometimes to separate your personal feelings from the job.
No.
Swear down.
Not really. Me, no.
Do you ever feel like you take any of the job home in a way, like, you know, like, damn, like you've gone through like 6 months of like an intense case, and it's like it's taken its toll on you in a way?
No. me
sleep like a baby at night, you know, just
out
like a light.
Honestly, I do. It doesn't trouble me for some weird reason, because I know I've worked with a lot of colleagues who it does trouble them. They can't take on cases. Even one of my supervisors from when I was a trainee, we had this really, really horrible case of a child abuser, basically. And my supervisor was like, no, I don't want to do this case. Don't want to do it. Don't want to speak to the guy. I was like, cool, I'll do it. Like, I'll do it. Like, it's yeah.
If I get in trouble, I'm hitting up Yen. Facts.
Nothing phases me. Nothing. It doesn't.
She's just coming to do the job and going home. I like that.
Yeah, I do the best. Like, yeah, you can't though. You can't let your emotions take over. Because you know what it's about. Being a criminal lawyer, you know you're going to come up against a lot of horrible people who have done horrible things. But you know it's the name of the game. So if you can't do it, then get out of the kitchen. You can't take the heat, you know.
What's been the most like trying case that you've dealt with? Like one which is really like
if you can talk about it,
you can summarize.
I can talk about it. I just can't obviously identify any of the names and stuff. But
I'm laughing because Daniel. In fact, I'm gonna get this. Is my pal Daniel. He actually just. I hope you don't mind me saying it. He actually just got out of jail not too long ago himself after being in and out of jail.
Okay.
He's actually a very interesting case. I hope you lock in for him, so you can listen. This guy went to secondary school. He was actually one of the smartest kids, and he's probably the epitome of how your environment is detrimental to you. Like this guy was smart. Anyway, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. Divulge about your case.
What was it? So the worst case I've had to deal with it's probably that child abuser case.
How long did it last?
That one was actually pretty quick because the guy actually pleaded guilty in the end. He pleaded, but yeah.
And these kind of cases, how you're saying it was quick? What is quick? Because sometimes you go on TV and you see cases which last for 3 years. Then you've got cases which last for longer than that.
Those 3-year cases are. Do you know what? Most Crown Court cases finish within about a year.
Flipping out.
Within a year. Obviously, with COVID, so many cases have been adjourned, postponed to like 2022. I've heard, which is ridiculous. But yeah, most Crown Court cases for serious offences, within about 1 year they finish, and minor cases, a couple of 2 months, 3 months maybe.
What's your idea of a minor case though?
Like theft, common assault, so like punching someone, like getting into a fight, punching someone, driving offences are like a couple of weeks done.
So I was gonna actually ask this question, but Tash, shout out Tash. As a female, do you ever experience any discrimination, prejudice in your line of work? Get back to Maria's as well, because Maria, I know she really wants to get that question answered as well. So we'll talk about Maria's in a sec. But that one is something I really wanted to know. So go for it.
As a female, do you ever experience any discrimination, prejudice in any line of work? I think I experienced most of all like sex discrimination. Not in terms of discrimination. I don't know, actually. You tell me. But I was previously working at this firm, and I was a qualified lawyer at the time. We had a few other females working there, a few other male colleagues, but the partner of the firm always asked the girls to go and get coffee for the clients. So I'm like, I've got work to do. Do you know what I mean? Like,
big man, I've got things to do, bro.
I've got work. Like, this is your firm. Like, you want me, and my billable hours are my billable hours. Like, they're not like £10 an hour. You want me to waste my time getting your clients cups of coffee? Like, there's other people to do it, and he wouldn't ask the guys. He wouldn't ask the guys to do it. Like, he thinks it's better, or it looks better for the girls in the office, the females to bring the coffee in. Because, and I think once I bought a cup of coffee and I didn't dash it on the you know.
Take your coffee, kick it.
I didn't throw it on the table. There was no spillage, but I just put it down with a bit of force, maybe, and then he was like, "What's wrong with you?" Like, and I shouldn't. To be honest, I shouldn't have done that, because I should have kept my cool. But it's like, stop. You need to stop doing that. Like, you can't treat people like that. You can't treat women like that, thinking that they're your inferior to you.
Was this guy slightly older or anything?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
how much older?
Not that old though. Not that old, like 50, mid 50s.
Oh, that's old enough though.
Not that old. Yeah.
Not old enough. Rewind back what is 1970s.
Saying that though, I do find that even with discrimination and a lot of the sexist and the nature towards women, all that nonsense, it does come from some older people. Like a lot of people.
No, it's true.
It's true. It's not me trying to get out older people, because I know some older people that are switched on and don't behave like that. But I've experienced and seen older people acting in a certain type of way towards women, towards other races, other people from different nationalities and stuff, and it's just like, come on. It says a lot that the young people are kind of moving away from some of that, and to be honest, even TV, if you look at TV, I'm not sure how old a lot of these people are, but growing up, it's just the way things were on TV. It kind of sold the wrong dream to a lot of people. Like, women were these people that kind of just sat at home. I mean, listen, if you're a woman that wants to sit at home and do nothing and just tend to your man all day, hats off to you, do your thing.
Yeah.
We are also in 2020, and girls are allowed to do whatever the hell they like, and should be kind of, people should be a little bit more switched on. And also that comes from like the home as well. So I think a lot of men see it in the home. They see it in the home, and then they think that this is what's going to happen outside when they get outside. So they might see their mum get treated in a certain type of way, and then they think that all women are supposed to be treated in that exact same way.
Yeah.
And then they take it into their professional lives, or just into life in general. But
I mean, I've actually got a couple of questions lined up along those lines. But go on.
No, sorry, I was just going to say that it all stems back to how you were brought up. Like, with everything, whether it's racism, whether you have racist views or you have like sexist views, it all comes down to how you were raised.
Yeah, sure.
Hit Maria. Maria, Maria's question is: can you lose your citizenship if you get arrested if you've got it through naturalization?
I don't know, to be honest. I'm going to be real. This is a question for an immigration lawyer, because they would probably give you a more accurate answer. But yeah, no, if you've got it through naturalization, it's quite a technical question. I'm not even going to attempt to answer it because I don't want to give out the wrong information. But I know there are certain offences that you can commit that, and I think it depends on the country as well. It depends. Were you naturalised? What, in the UK? From like which country?
From Romania, right?
Yeah.
From Romania. It depends. Like I really don't know, to be honest. Sorry, Maria.
Sometimes, you know what it is? Like, I'm ignorant as well. Sometimes you forget how many divisions of law there really are. Like you generally do. So sometimes you think all lawyers have a broad knowledge of every type of law. When unfortunately, because you have to be so focused, because there's such how many thousand-page books that you have to go through all the time to know your own facts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Marisa wanted to know if I can go to prison or not.
Depends on what
you've done, Maria.
Yeah, just about to get dual citizens. Wanted to know if I can. Oh, so she's beating up people out here. Maria, who you beating up, man? Jeez. Jeez. But what's it called?
That's a question in it as well. How are you looking after your mental health?
She's a savage.
Yeah. You don't care, do you? You're just like, no, I'm good, man. I mean, clearly sit back and just watch some TV. You know what I mean? Relax, get back into normal life.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I'm one of the lucky ones where it hasn't really impacted my mental health too much. I know it can do for a lot of people if they do it day in and day out, but I don't have these like crazy cases like all the time. The ones that really affect me, to be honest, it's not the child abuser ones, because I know that's like they're a lot rarer than the cases where it's young black males getting into trouble. Those are the ones that really, really hurt me, to be honest.
Why is that? Because it just follows the stereotype and adds to the
number. And also because like they're so young. Like I've had to deal with 13, 14, 15. Last year, I had to deal with, how old was he? 15. I think it was 15. A 15-year-old accused of attempted murder. I mean, it's a stabbing case.
Right.
But they're so.
Just a quick question: do you speak to their parents when these things are going on? Do you talk to the parents as well? And what do you get from the parents? Because obviously, I mean, if my son was 15 and it's an attempted murder situation, I don't know. I feel like I've almost failed as a parent, because I feel like I did something wrong, and I wasn't, I didn't protect that child from going down that road. So, what do the parents actually say to you in these situations? Like, what communication do you have with them?
So all throughout the case, I communicate with them.
Right.
Like obviously, attempted murder case is very serious. It was obviously almost murder, and the only reason why it's attempted murder is because
they haven't died.
They haven't died technically. He was on life support, so that's the only difference between a murder and attempted murder. But it's just as bad, it's just as bad. So yeah, I did have a lot of contact with the mum and dad throughout the whole case, even before it got into court. But they're just lovely people. Like both mum and dad they're just nice, lovely, polite. Both of them work, I can't remember what they do. I think their dad was like in IT. So, completely like normal, I'd say normal people. The only thing that I could get from, in terms of reasons why the boy went down the route that he went, is because although mum and dad were really nice people and they had, jobs and stuff, they he did come from a broken home. So mum and dad went together. And the boy was just allowed to do what he wanted to do.
Right.
At an early age, from like the age of 13, he was involved in gangs. They preyed on him to do, the county lines drug operation.
Yep.
That's what they do. They prey on the young and the vulnerable. Young children have come from vulnerable, broken homes, who need to be felt a part of something, of a group, or to belong somewhere. So that's what they do. They just prey on these, vulnerable children. But I don't know. I don't really want to say, but I think it's a case of where the parents didn't really have a handle on their child. They just let them run amok.
See,
do what they want to do.
This is the thing. This is kind of where, and at times, sometimes people use that as more of like a motive to say, oh well, yeah, to put fire under their conversation about discriminating other people. That sometimes kind of gets used in the wrong way. I kind of have no time for people who use kids in that kind of way. And he's a black teenager.
Yeah.
And for those people in the community who are inducting these younger, and it's probably like an older black guy that's looked at a younger black guy and said, I'm going to throw you in to the world that I'm in. But then that same person sometimes kind of says, oh, what the system, I think you kind of lose the right to talk about how the system treats us if you're also treating your own people in a certain type of way. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? And that's kind of my frustration with some of these, because I get hit up by my mum all the time. My mum reads the news way too much. And my mum just says stuff like, oh, this innocent boy. I said, Mum, like, there's a story behind some of these things, unfortunately. And yes, the victim is that child who was kind of led down the wrong path, let down by the parents, etc. And it's a hard one. It's a hard one, really, because I feel sorry for these kids, and I don't feel like enough's being done. And I feel like also the legal system as well does not help them. They don't really look at them. Every case is just like, okay, he tried to stab someone. Okay, cool, we're going to get him done. They don't ever really try to... We don't have a system where we try and really,
But that's not their focus, is it?
Of course, and it's also not their concern, but these people have got no one else. They've got no one else. They've literally got no one. Their parents let them down. The systems let them down. And it's just like, they're kind of just there. Imagine being thrown into prison at 13, 14 years old for an attempted murder.
How long does that get you, by the way? What's the maximum sentence?
For attempted murder?
Yeah.
It's still life.
Really?
Yeah. But life doesn't always mean life. Like, life is not life. In the UK. So when you say life, it's about 30 years. It's about 25, 30 years. There are only certain very serious cases where life means life. Like, you ain't getting out until you ain't getting out.
Yeah.
And it's a recent case. You know the Reading stabbing with the guy who...
Oh, yeah.
I've not heard
the one in the park. The one in the park last year.
Yeah,
remember?
the terrorist.
Yeah, I'm going to...
The guy was just in the park shanking people. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, what about that one? Sorry.
So he got a whole life imprisonment. If I remember correctly, that means he's not getting out. So he's in there
because they classified it as attempted murder because he stabbed multiple people, and they probably.
Well, I think he killed a few people, and he tried to kill.
Yeah, 3 people got killed. Yeah.
So he got a whole life sentence.
So there's life sentence, and then there's a whole life sentence.
Yeah.
Life without any. They never look at your case in any other way. Like, that's it. They just throw out. Okay. Do you feel sorry for those people that get that?
You're asking the wrong person. I don't really.
He's so wrong.
Remorse. None. No remorse whatsoever. Just like, he's done. Who's next?
I don't feel.
What's my next case, big man? Let me see.
Yeah,
I'll take that one. I'll take that one.
Yeah,
Do you believe in reform though? Do you believe that people can reform? So like if someone's been in there for 15 years, do you think that that person has served enough time and he's maybe we should try and not reintroduce him to society, but maybe look at him again, talk to him or something, get him analysed by like a what a psychologist or I don't know what they are. But
I definitely definitely people are able to reform.
Right.
Like it's one though, it's got to be in you to want to reform in the first place. It's got to be in you as a person to want to reform and to do better and to not lead the same life that led you to being in prison. But also too, you need to have the tools and the resources and the ammunition, from the state to enable you to lead a straight and narrow life. But unfortunately, our system doesn't work like that. It's people prefer to just stay in prison because it's easy for them. That's what they're used to, and it's better for them to be in prison than to be out in the real world trying to get a job, being on benefits, and trying to feed themselves and to find shelter. It's mad. Like, how do you expect someone to be in for 15 years to just be out, to be let out of prison and just get on with their life, like with no support whatsoever? And probation, they're probably still going to be on probation. They'll be on license for a few years after that. Probation services, I can honestly say, are shit in this country.
Tash, she's shooting at you.
Yeah?
Tash, she used to be a probation officer, innit?
Sorry. The ones I've dealt with, it's almost as if they don't care.
No,
like,
I mean,
I've had to battle more times. I've had to battle probation officers more than actual police officers.
That's strange.
Right.
I mean, I guess it's a different sort of battle to be had, but it's like probation are supposed to be there. I know they still sort of funded by the government, and
supposedly Daniel just said they've been defunded.
Yeah,
have they?
Yeah, it's probably what. Yeah.
Do you think it's because they're not having the impact that they should? And is that sort of like another place that we need to reform, that another place that we need to get someone in there to really look over the process and understand if it's working for us? Because that's something that affects everybody. Like, if someone goes to prison for 10 years and they're coming back out in the public, that's a concern for someone that lives in that community. So it should be a concern for everybody. We should all really be saying we need a proper system set up to get these people back into the community, get them really looking after themselves, find out where their what's going on with their mental health. How are they in terms of like just being able to fit back into that system, from not having a cell slammed shut every night and having to go to the toilet in front of your cellmate, all that kind of nonsense that you got to go through in there. Like, how do we just say, oh yeah, you're done now, go back out, you're on license, you can't do this, you can't do that, and just get on with it? I think it's poor. It's absolutely poor. And damn right they defunded it because it's clearly not working.
No, the whole system needs reforming. We need probation officers. I mean, I've met some who are nice and who care, but most of them, it's just a job for them. Right. They don't actually care. Right. There are a lot of problems right now, and obviously being defunded doesn't help, because who wants to work for free? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's only so many people who will just do it out the kindness of their heart, but people seem to put food on their own table, so they're not going to do it for free or do it for a shit salary.
Have you ever sort of had to represent the same person twice, and have you kind of walked in there and gone,
yeah, this is what I'm saying. Yeah, with some of the reoffenders, like, I've managed to get them a good result, like a really good result, where you could have gone to prison, but I got you a suspended sentence. Like, you're out of prison, you're staying out of prison now. And a couple of months down the line, they call me up. Oh, I need help. I need. It's like, with the young ones as well, I do try and tell them. I do try and speak to them a bit more, because I do feel like there is hope for them. So, and those are the cases, like I said, that make me really, really sad, because it's like, I can see that no one's there for them. No one believes in them. They don't have the role model. It's like no one cares about them. So at least I can be the one to care about what they're going to do, after this case is done. So it really disheartens me when it's like I see the same person come up on my phone again. I need help.
But I think it's also like, let's say, the environment. So you can't. I think people are heavily influenced by the environment just as much as the environment kind of comes with the home, how they grew up, all that kind of stuff. So if they're in an area that they've got all of these friends that are up to no good, and they get released from prison, or they come off a charge and they go back, they're going to go back to doing the same thing. And it's just, I feel like it's kind of like a cycle. But then if you get off, like you said the first time, if that happened to me, if I was about to go down and you got me off a prison sentence, listen, I'm going to church. I am a reformer. No, facts, because it's like you kind of have to. There's points in your life that you got to realize I got lucky there, and I probably should take this direction rather than keep going down that same exact direction. It's almost like insanity to keep doing the same things and expecting the same bloody results.
But enough of them that are there don't learn that lesson.
Yeah. And that's unfortunate.
But I'm just going to backtrack a little bit, because we were speaking on the young ones, the 13, 14, 15-year-olds that you've been dealing with. Now, I mean, I'll keep going back to Daniel because he's in the comments a lot, actually, raising some good points. And I'm going to use him as an example. As I said earlier in the conversation, this guy, he was incredibly smart. I've never seen anybody that good with maths and numbers. Like, this was the guy. Fast forward, we just reconnected not that long ago, but people who went to my school, we never really stayed too far out of touch anyway. But I hadn't spoken to this brother in damn near, 17 years or so. Yeah. And then we started speaking recently again, and he was telling me that he's been in and out. I always rewind back and always think back to stuff like, remember Connections?
I remember Connections.
Yeah.
I remember Connections. What happened to them? Jeez.
That's my point. That's my point in case. That's my point in case.
They got defunded.
Stuff like Connections. Yeah, no, they did. They got, because it was round about when, funny enough, Boris became mayor. Remember we had the bendy buses? It was around about the same time bendy buses came in. That's when Boris became mayor. Connections went out. I always use that connection because I'm like, when you take those kind of stuff away from the youth of today, and have somebody who is in a position to probably help guide them in a certain direction, it makes such a big difference. Then you take away a lot of youth clubs. Then you start making it super expensive. Like me and Mason, we're both basketball players. Half the time you'll find us in outdoor courts, busting up our trainers, busting up our knees, all of this stuff, because going inside and playing was too expensive.
Way too expensive.
Now, what the point I'm getting to is that, do you think, I personally think it's the government who actually fails. It's not just black kids, it's the white kids. In fact, it's anybody who's living just below that poverty line or on the poverty line or even just above the poverty line. I've always said I feel it's the government who have failed the communities more than anything. Putting your mother hat on, do you think anything like that with regards to your son? Even, yes, he's got a good home life and this, that, the other, but do you ever worry because of the environment that he's in and there's a lack of access to maybe stuff that when he grows up that he might want to do? Do you ever worry that he might stray?
Yeah, I do. Obviously, as a parent, it doesn't really matter if you're, a white couple living in suburbia with loads of money. You're still going to worry that your kid might be dabbling in drugs or getting into some sort of trouble. Like, there's always going to be a worry as a parent. And for me, living in a London, it's definitely a worry, but I don't know, maybe I should be more worried, but I know myself. I'm not going to let my child run loose and do whatever he wants. Like, but I know he can still rebel. I know that he can choose not to listen to me. But if there are no youth clubs or whatever, and places that he can go to stay out of trouble, that's on me. That's my responsibility to get him to do stuff that keeps him out of trouble, even though that the government hasn't provided me with that. Like, and I'm not talking about paying, because I know a lot of families can't afford to pay for like courses, whatever it may be, to keep them off the streets. But there's other stuff that you can do. There is.
Fine.
So,
and I'm gonna combat that by saying, me, for example, aside from doing this stuff, I work in a hospital, as you guys know. My partner, she's a nurse, right? I'm gonna just pocket a little section of people. So say you got Nigerian family. I'm not gonna go at my Ghanaians. Say you have a Nigerian family, yeah? Both their parents work stupid hours because they're first generation immigrants who need to make a certain amount of money to feed the kids and like buy them clothes and stuff like that. To a certain extent, obviously, you can't keep your eye, and you can't actually do those things because you can't be physically there. What do you do then? Because that's a reality for a lot of these people in these situations. Because as you were saying before about the previous kid, the parents just aren't there to look after the kid. They're letting them run wild, but it's not on purpose.
See, this is the thing. Like, I feel like you don't have to. It's not a like you don't. Both parents don't need to be out of the house doing crazy. You don't have to. As a family, you need to make those decisions. That when you're making decisions, and decisions are key to a lot of different things. The decisions you make literally shape your life. So if you're making a decision to allow your 13-year-old to maybe be at home from the hours of 5 in the evening to 10 p.m. by himself, that's on you. So whatever happens in that time is on that decision that you've made because you've put maybe money before actually spending time with your child.
But we live in London, bro.
Yeah, but you don't need. I think people always put that money thing in front of. And when it comes to children, you don't need a crazy ton of money to raise your children in the right way.
But my question
has nothing to do with raising your children in the right way, and we always use money as an excuse.
But the thing is, this is the balance. We were speaking about this last week, I think, with Saad. Especially when it comes to young men, right? We don't talk about our financial situations and the kind of difficulties that we experience. So what a lot of people don't see is the debts behind all of that. That's why people are working like they are. So then if you know in the back of your mind, if I don't do this, we're going to be kicked out of our house, then what?
Okay, so there's obviously, I think there's different levels of support and stuff that you get as well. So if you're a single parent in London, you're probably going to get more support.
You'd hope so.
I mean, you'd hope so. In some cases, it's not. But I know, even let's say, for instance, a lot of these guys, and this is me kind of hitting back at my own community. A lot of these guys, they sit there and they say, "Oh, bro, we were in the trenches, man. Let me tell you something.
I don't want to stay in these damn trenches, man.
Let me tell you something. So I'm first gen. So you're talking about I'm first gen. I wasn't born here. Okay, I'm first gen. I was born in the Caribbean. I moved here with my family when I was young. I was surprised to see that education was free. It was free, and it continues to be free if you want to look at it from a certain aspect. So you have zero excuse, really. It just tells me that your wants are kind of bigger than what's important. So you wanting certain things at a certain time and that's kind of down to your parents not keeping you humble. And yes, them being absent can maybe have an effect on that as well. But the time that they do spend, you've got to start by teaching your kids just to be humble and not want all of the things out there and go out there and then maybe get seduced by some older 25-year-old or 30-year-old, sometimes 40-year-old man that's telling you to go crunch, bro, run this line for me, all that kind of nonsense. If you kind of teach your kids to be humble, they can't be seduced by this big man trying to tell them to go, you know, get your money up in country.
Was that
You
easier
understand what I'm
said
trying
than
to say?
done?
It's easier said than done, but as a parent, you owe it to your children to drill in some of these basics, bro. Like, and you just, sometimes people are leaning on these excuses. We live in England. We live in England, bro. Like, people forget we live in England. This is England. Education is free. Like, if you're in a certain community, find out what help you can get and use the help that's there. Some of the reasons why some of these things have been defunded is because they weren't being used. Like, some of them just weren't being used. They didn't see the return.
But of course,
because
it's a public service, you're never going to see a return.
Of
Connections,
course,
it's impossible to see a return in connections.
no, I get
obviously.
that, but I mean, that's also down to the people that's in charge. There's different bits and bobs that I don't personally agree with, but I just feel like, you know what, as a parent, especially if you're a single mom in one of the worst areas, use the help around you. You know, teach your kids about education and trying to stay on the right path, that kind of thing.
Yes, and can you speak on that about parenthood as well? I don't know if you want to delve into that.
I've been more lucky because I've got my mum's support. So my mum can look after my child. I don't have to pay, like, thankfully I don't have to pay for childcare. Like, childcare, I understand, is crazy extortionate. Like, it's 65, 70 pounds a day.
Yeah.
Some people are just earning just about £70 a day. So so I can understand why some people choose not to work and choose to be on benefits, because they probably get paid more on benefits than if they were actually to go out and work. Yeah. But for me, I've been very lucky. My mum's been able to look after my child while I go to work and while I can pursue my career. I don't know, it probably would be a very different story if I didn't have that help, if I had to pay for childcare. Like, I probably wouldn't be able to do that. And also it'll be a thing on my conscience. Like, do I let my child be looked after by a random stranger for, you know, the whole day, basically, while I go to work? Like, it's such a difficult thing, because I don't want to just leave my child in the hands of someone else to be looked after. Again, it's like, I have to obviously work to put money on the table and to provide, you know, a roof over my head. But at the same time, I still want to spend time with my child. But when that child comes of school age, I don't see why they can't go to school and the parents can't just work during the 9 to 3. Just find a job between 9 to 3 and then look after their child after.
I think you've got to figure out what's best for your situation. You can't just assume and just lean on. I think what a lot of people do, they lean on a couple of excuses. And I feel like, especially if you've got a child, that should be the turning point. That should be, you know what? I have the responsibility for this human being, unfortunately. And that's me saying it from me being a parent and knowing that as soon as my child was born, a level of responsibility just kicked in that I never had before, right? But it doesn't really, that's not the same for everybody. So people don't, they don't, unfortunately don't go down that situation. And 9 times out of 10, the person that gets hurt the most is the child in the situation, because they miss out on key bits that they should be getting taught or things they should be experiencing. And then it's easier for them to then get pushed into a certain life or down a certain path because their parents made a couple decisions that were maybe selfish. When you have kids, unfortunately, just forget about some of the selfish things you've got for yourself. Like, a lot of the decisions that you make have got to go through what's best for that child. And this is why people just saying, you know, I'm going to have a child. Think long term what it means. Like, having a child it's not easy, you know. No, it's it's a big thing. So
three of us know, it's not.
Yeah, and I think the decision sometimes for people to just be like, yeah, I'm going to have kids. Whoa, have you really thought this through? Like, do you understand what this means financially, mentally, like all of those things that come into it? Like, I don't think people really think about it, and then they end up adding another maybe dysfunctional person, and that's no disrespect to people, but it's the truth. Like they end up adding another dysfunctional person to the society, and then they end up in front of you, Yen, sometimes.
Exactly.
Right? No, but it's the real facts. Honestly, like that's just how I see it. And I think it's wrong. It's down to decisions, and it's down to really thinking about things and making decisions that best suits that individual that you're responsible for.
100. Yeah, and you got a question across the bottom.
Can you be a successful woman and have an amazing family life? Yeah, 100%. 100%. But also, are you talking success as in successful career? Because there are many other ways you can be successful.
Yes.
Successful career. Yeah.
As in, say, we're talking like, say CEO or something. Or even a woman of your stature, say you get to like super heights where you're fighting like major cases and stuff like that for like footballers who are in trouble and stuff like that. Do you reckon you can balance those kind of careers? Like lives, sorry, not careers.
Yeah, you can, and a lot of women have done that before. Like, it's not impossible, and I think we need to get over the rhetoric that we can't. Like, it's more of a thing that women can't be successful in their career and family life. Like, we need to get over that. But I do understand it's difficult. It's so difficult because as a mother, you have that maternal instinct. You just want to be there for your child. You want to be there to raise them and spend time with them. But I think there are things you can do. Like me, for example, I used to be an employee. I used to work in a firm. I used to have my 9 to 6 in the office, and then maybe have to go to the police station or whatever during the evenings or night times. And again, I'm lucky because I've had my mum to look after my child when I've needed to do that. But now I work as a consultant. I'm a consultant solicitor. So now I get to choose my own times. I don't have to go into the office. Like, I'm attached to a firm because I have to be, because at the moment I don't have my own firm, but I'm hoping to do that in the future. But yeah, so as a consultant, you can choose your own hours. You don't have to go into the office. You can be there. You can be successful. You can work from home. You can be there to drop your child off at school, pick them up, do your work at home, do work in the evenings if you have to make up for lost time during the day. But I don't see why it's not possible. Like, we have technology as well. Like, don't forget, we have technology, and also now everyone's working from home. Like, it's not impossible. Everyone's doing it now because we've had to do it, because there's been a bloody pandemic and everyone's forced to do it. We have the technology. People are just working from home now. So it's always been possible. We just haven't been forced to do it. Like, now we're being forced to do it.
It's true, but I asked a question just to kind of shake that kind of rhetoric as you were saying, because it's a thing where a lot of men will be like, "Oh, you're the woman. You must come and cook the meal, and you must clean the house. You must do all this madness." And it's like, in my household, it's not like that. I'm like, it's 2021. You guys work just as hard as me. You kind of have to balance it up. You really do have to balance up, and then that leads into this question.
Why do you think female bosses intimidate a lot of men?
Because they
does it intimidate? Would it intimidate you guys?
Bro, no, not at all, man. I'm good.
Oh no, I love it. I'm all for it.
I'm hella comfortable with who I am as a person, bro. I think it intimidates the wrong type of men. I think if you're not confident in what you're doing, bro, a successful woman is going to make you feel a certain type of way. But if you got your shit together,
I totally agree. I think it intimidates a certain type of man who's insecure. I think that's it. It's just insecurity, because if you were able to bring to the table what you bring to the table, then why would you be intimidated by a woman who's successful and independent, can look after herself? I'm not saying that women can't always, don't need to seek that from man, or that the man doesn't have to provide security or comfort, or all that sort of thing. Like, I think it's actually, I don't know. Like, you guys, you tell me from a man's point of view.
From a man's point of view, I would rather, and shout out my partner. She's a real boss, G. Absolute G. Amazing partner. I would have it no other way, because from being in other situations, you realize just how important it is, especially if you're, like, in terms of family life and that kind of stuff. Like, you need that structure. If you've got two people that are on job, like, it's easier. Life just becomes so much easier, and it's kind of attractive in a way when you've got, for me anyway, if you've got a woman that's on job, she wants to achieve, and you're there to support and help her on that. If it depends on how you feel about the person as well. Do you know what I mean? If you're into your partner like that, seeing them succeed or crush it is a win for you. Whereas I've been in other relationships where, like, it's been different. That person may not be, as ambitious, and sometimes you being ambitious kind of then crushes them a little bit. And I've seen it from the other side as well. But for me, it's much more attractive to have a woman that's on job, that just wants to just run. Because I think sometimes men see it as, or insecure men see it as, I don't know. It
demasculates them.
Yeah, it's like they feel like they're not needed almost. But they forget that nothing about that woman achieving what she wants to achieve and just going out there and being like a killer in terms of her career, that it doesn't impact her still being a woman. She still needs your love, your attention, your care. Bro, she's still going to need you to buy her nice things, and then not need you, but she's still going to appreciate it. And I think a lot of these guys, they kind of grow up on almost like a dependency. They see it as women. I want a woman to depend on me, and that's just a weird way of thinking. Like, if you have a woman that depends on you, especially if you fall into like crazy times, that's an extra person that you're going to have to look after. Not that that's a bad thing, because let's say you've got two people that's killing it, or let's say, she needs you one time when things fall apart in her life or whatever, in her career. Yeah, you can be that person to help her out, lift her up, whatever. But I think expecting a woman just to depend on you and it's almost like having a pet. That's just some bullshit.
I think it's a power thing for some men. It's like a misogynistic way of thinking. It's a power thing.
Yeah. It's
because when you think of men being intimidated by females, you just think of, you can just imagine how that man would be. The conversations and the arguments that would come up for for a man to think, oh, my partner, I feel threatened by her. Like, it's just a weird way of thinking, and I think it's a power thing. It's a power trip. It's almost verges on a domestic emotional abuse, to be honest.
I think it's an old, outdated way of thinking.
100%.
I think it's an old, outdated way of thinking, where we're talking like maybe 50 years ago, where women went. Thanks, Maria. Where women weren't in the workplace as much, or weren't allowed to do as much. But we've kind of got past that now, because women have always wanted to do more, but they've just never really been allowed to do more. It's been such like a boys' club. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so, and to be honest, like, especially when you look at world politics at the moment, I'll give you an example. Look at New Zealand. Female running the country, okay? Fully out of COVID, no issues. Made the right decisions. She did a killer job. Big man here with a dodgy hair, yeah? We're still having
Boris or Trump,
no, them two, with a dodgy hair. Both of them. Oh man.
Yeah.
And it's just one of them ones where I think, like, people just almost think that women being in positions of power, they think that, oh my God, it's going to be a witch hunt for men. It's like, we're going to come after the men. I think there's that element of society that thinks if we put women in power, they're going to come after men. Bro, like, again, that's just the wrong way of thinking. That's just not. That's not it. Like that is not it. A lot of these women are still heterosexual women that have husbands and have families. They're still normal people. I don't understand what point of view that they're looking at it from. Well, we're trying to understand what point of view they're looking at it from, but I think it's just a weird way of looking at life. You know.
It is.
Which is what I want to change. Try and change. You know, like I've in the workplace. If someone has made like a sexist comment or you know, someone said something that is sort of overstepping the boundary, I will always try and tell them. And I think that's where it has to start. You just have to stand up for yourself. But I understand it's very hard, especially if you are working, you're an employee, especially. It's hard to sort of raise your voice and not be at risk of being fired. Like that's a concern as well for a lot of women. Like you can try and complain about being sexually assaulted, but still feel like you're going to be fired from your job. Like that's just so crazy to even have to worry about that sort of thing. And that's what we need to try and get rid of.
So I had to change up my camera, guys.
I see that. Change settings and all sorts.
No, I asked that question deliberately because there is. I think what I'm trying to get at is generally from a racism and a sexism point of view, there's too much old trains of thought which I think are polluting or hindering us as a people just from moving forward. That's the only reason I asked that, just to see what your opinion was on the success of a woman, because again, there's enough fellas I talk to who feel threatened by that or challenged by that. I don't see why they should be, like has been discussed. And I feel there should be a more empowerment to that notion of thing. Me personally, I'd like to stay at home. I don't care for cleaning the house and that. I don't care for cooking.
That I don't agree on. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm joking, bro.
No, but
I do too much anyway. It's impossible for me to.
It's kind of modern day. Like when you think about life in a modern sense, like even just sitting at home and just someone being dedicated to cleaning the house, bro.
It's a lot.
Like think about that for a second. Like in 2021, someone being dedicated to cleaning a house and cooking dinners. Yeesh. Like, come on, man.
In fact, let me just touch on something.
Where's the ambition?
No, I mean, touch on that ambition point. For a lot of people, there isn't any.
And listen,
there's flat out isn't any.
It's not me shitting on people that just want to do that, because there are some people out there. I know people that, and I saw it on Facebook the other day. This girl she went to school with, she's dedicated to being a mum. Like it's almost like you could see from school that she wasn't really ever interested in anything other. She just liked kids and she just wanted to have a family. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that just being your thing. However, I'm just saying that's not really my bag. I would rather have someone that is that has something, has something that they want to achieve, because it's kind of attractive, because I'm also like that kind of person, and I like to be around other people that have kind of goals and drives and things that they want to achieve, etc. So but there's nothing wrong with people that just want to stay at home and be mums either.
Not at all. What I was going to ask was, how was it then for you? Because, I mean, your story wasn't straight from like going through the motions of going college to university and then finishing your degree and then starting law, was it? You had a bit of a stepping stone in between that.
The first part of it was pretty much the usual steps you have to take. So yeah, college, then university, and then after uni, it was another year in law school. And that's like an extra. It was like 15 grand for like 9 months of schooling. Yeah, it was crazy. So I thought, if I'm doing that, I've got to continue, man. I've got to go run. Like, it's a lot of money, but so it's after uni, it's law school for about a year, And then you have to find a training contract. If you want to go down the solicitor route, then you have to find a training contract. If you want to go down the barrister route, because in the UK there's a distinguished sort of profession. Like we're called lawyers, but they're solicitors and barristers, so it depends what route you want to go down. But for solicitor, you have to find a training contract, and that's like a 2-year training period where you work as a solicitor in a firm, and then after that you obviously you become qualified. But training contracts are very, very competitive. They're very hard to come by. So there's a point after law school where I was actually working in a cold calling center for personal injury claims. You know, there's annoying calls that you get on your phone.
You're one of them people.
I was.
No, yeah. I swear to God, you make me want to dash my phone sometimes.
I'm telling you, chances are I would have hung up on you, bro.
No, definitely. I got so much abuse working in that cold calling center.
I can imagine.
It was funny though, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, so I worked in a cold calling center for personal injuries marketing firm for about a year and a bit, and then I became.
Hold on. So to add to it, you're one of those people. You're one of those people that's like, hello, Mr. Addo, you were in a car crash 3 years ago. You're one of those people.
Yeah.
See, this is why she's able to just not bat an eyelid.
Not care, innit? Yeah.
And go home and just be normal, because those people get slapped up so much.
I've had a lot of training. I've had a lot of training in that area about, you know, getting beaten down but yeah, sorry, I was one of those people. And then you would say, no, I haven't been involved in an accident. I'm like, are you sure? Like, are you sure?
I'll be like, how much can you get me?
Yeah, exactly. And then you'd be like, take my name off the list. So this is what happens in his cold calling center. So we'd be like, we make a note on your system against your telephone number, like, do not call this person. They haven't been involved in an accident. So I would look at these notes against these numbers, and I'd be like, let me just try and call them anyway, just to see if they've been in an accident. So even though you tell people you haven't been involved in an accident, they'll still call you.
How do you get the numbers? How do they go about getting people's numbers?
Thank you. That's one thing I've always wanted to know, because
when I pick up the phone and I'm like, huh? What? Like, I've not been in an accident.
So mainly it's you've either you've visited a website somewhere, and you've signed up to something, and you don't untick the box that
for the marketing thing
includes all the marketing stuff. So your data basically gets sold to companies like us, like who I used to work for. And then we just call. It's basically cold calling. We just call you on the off chance that you may have been involved in an accident.
So then how can we get our names off this thing? Because it's fucking annoying.
So now obviously GDPR rules and stuff are coming to play. So now I don't know if you've noticed, but when you sign up to things online now, it doesn't tick the box automatically for you.
Yeah. I have
so the law has changed on that, and
they've got a loophole around that though. It's more time. It's if you don't check the box, then they won't allow you to proceed.
If you don't check the box for receiving marketing,
some people just won't allow you to proceed.
Yeah, exactly. So not actually now. I think now they put 2 boxes. So one is I agree to receiving marketing, and the second one is I agree to the terms and conditions.
Yeah.
So I think they do split it out now. But now it's a lot easier for you to take your name off the list now. You just email the company and just say you're breaching GDPR. Just take my name off the goddamn list, otherwise I'm going to report you, innit? So.
Oh yeah, they get shook, innit? Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, cool. You know what we've been talking about for an hour and a half or more about some serious stuff. Let's talk about some light stuff. So, I came across Yen raving it out on a rooftop bar in Brixton. I'm baiting her out now. She was raving it out on a rooftop bar when I was DJing for Apple.
I was having my best life.
She was fully living her best life. So, how do you get to like the music that you like? I know it sounds like a dumb question, but everybody has their different
ways
avenues of getting into music.
Interesting question.
What got you into the love? Because I'm telling you, bro, this woman was singing her heart out when the classic R&B was on. Woman was singing her heart out. What got you
I
into?
swear I was the only one that was just hype. I didn't care about anyone else around me. I was just like, look, I love this song. I'm going for it. And everyone else was looking at me like,
you know what?
Okay?
How do you deal with like exactly that? What happened with Kofi, where someone's like, you don't associate, you know, you with the music. How do you deal with that? Because that's kind of, I see that a lot. I see people that like, oh, so like sometimes I'll be playing Bashment and then the whitest of white people, not in a
I
disrespectful
love
way at all.
Bashment, by
Like
the
this
way.
might be like she's
a carnival queen, bro.
She just doesn't look like she's into Bashment. She looks like she might be,
Yeah.
and that might be me just putting my own, but and then I'm like, and I'm like, okay, that does knock me back a little bit. I'm like, shit, like because you just don't see it. It's not almost like it's not normal, So
that's so weird. I don't know because I've always grown up in London. Like I've went to a school, my secondary school. I think secondary school was my turning point because when I was in primary, I was listening to Britney Spears and Spice Girls and stuff, like just straight up pop. But when I went into secondary, I went to secondary in Fulham, so but just across the road, Hurlingham and Chelsea.
Oh yeah, you're not too far from Fulham football ground.
Yeah. No, we were basically just over Wandsworth Bridge, so not on a Wandsworth side, but literally just on the other side,
near Chelsea Harbour.
Yeah. So we had a lot of my school was just mixed like black, Asian, whites, but I had a very diverse group of friends. So, and I think they introduced me to the music, and that's where that's where it all started. I was introduced to music to Bashment when I was like in year 8, and I was like, what is this? I love it.
Let me get some of that. Let me get some of that.
Bashment. That was the golden age of Bashment.
Oh man, yeah. So all the Bashment classics, it's like it's my go-to. When all the music sometimes now is a bit samey. So when I'm bored of the music, I go to my Bashment playlist because it's just classics, isn't it? It's
I think music is the one place that people can connect, and people from people from totally different backgrounds can just come together. Music has always had that effect on people, and that's how I think that's obviously how most of us, even the three of us talking now, probably connected. Really, it's true.
But why do you think it's weird to see like maybe an Asian girl like shaking out to Bashment? Why?
You know what?
This is London.
This is London, but it's also, you sometimes take the mindset that you get from the way you've been treated or the way sort of things have gone in real life, and then you put them in the situation, like say with you, and you're like, these two don't go together. And I think that's where my head's at sometimes with it. It's just like, I don't assume that someone will like something because I associate different things with them. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, no, I get that.
And it's obviously, I'm trying to get away from that, and I have gotten away from that. But sometimes it still shocks me, man. Like I've got a couple of people in South Korea that are heavy fans of mine, and I'm just like, I'm so shocked. I don't even know how.
It's big over there, though. Like hip hop and everything is big in Asia.
It's mad. And when I saw it, I was like, I didn't even think. I was like, wow, South Korea, are you serious? like, dude. But yeah, it Bashment bangs for them heavily.
Well, I'm telling you, like one of the biggest people that was most disappointed by Carnival getting cancelled last year was Yen. Like seriously, for about a week straight leading up to it, all I saw on her story was, what's it called? Throwback to this Carnival, throwback to that Carnival. Every single
Monday at Carnival, Yen's on a float. Tuesday, she's representing someone. Jesus,
I'm not even
Christ.
on a float, I'm just in the mix. I'm deep in the mix.
Just on it. But the thing is, like, fine. Then you say Bashment, like, is your go-to. Like for you, like if you had to throw it back to one song that converted you, what song would it be?
Do you remember Log On? Elephant Man.
Of course.
You know,
That
but
one.
you know, we can't even
That's
say
the
that
one.
though. We
Yeah.
can't even say that
You
because
cannot say that now
I
because
tell you what,
we'll get in trouble for singing that
I
whole thing.
tried.
Why?
I ran that song maybe this time last year. I ran
What?
it, but then I realized
What did you
what I've played it in Shoreditch, but then I realized what I was
You were
playing,
playing.
and I had to rap it very quickly, like bow.
Because they're
Like,
What? Because of your own accord, or because someone said something?
No, because they're
because
man.
it's because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Okay.
even though it's a weird one because we all know that like Jamaican culture and bashment and the whole history, but it's like it's not. I don't know. For me, it's not that for me. The song just bangs. It's just what I'm saying.
Exactly.
It was more like the dance that I associated with the song, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
right. So it was just like, but then when you think about it, from like a standpoint of like, let's say like someone from the gay community, it's like, you know, it's like,
yeah,
you know.
But do you want to know something? That's crazy, right? More time. There's a lot of people who sing stuff who that have no idea what they're singing.
Oh, yeah.
That's me. That's me.
And sometimes it could be the most foul and offensive stuff you're singing. You haven't the foggiest. Like I'll go to Spain and I forgot what club I went to, and people were singing some stuff, and I was looking around like, do you all know what you're saying right now?
Yeah.
Like, and even fine, I'll even deep it even more. Venga Boys. Boom, 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 boom. I want you in my room. How old were we when that song come out?
I don't know, man. I was
10,
about
9, 10.
Secondary.
9, 10.
No,
No,
I was in
99.
primary, man.
99.
Primary. Okay.
So imagine now, like you deep the song, boom, 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 boom. I want you in my room. Let's spend the night together from now till forever. You're like, raw. You double back now. You're thinking, I'm singing some wild shit.
Yeah.
Barbie girl. I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie. You can touch me everywhere. Undress me. Blah blah blah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, look at your face now. Look at your face now. Like you deep it. You're like,
I know. Yeah.
bloody hell.
See,
But
me
that's
and
what
my
I'm saying, even when
partner.
you're young.
You know Michael Kofi.
Yeah.
So we always have this little debate about singing basically lyrics in a song, and I always say like I don't know like what the hell, like I listen to bashment for God's sake.
Yeah.
Like
half
the time I don't even know what they're talking about anyway, even if they are trying to speak in English. Like I don't know. So whether it's English or not, I don't listen. Like I just zone out. I hear the beat, I hear the vibes on the song, and that's it. But obviously, if you deep it and you do listen to the lyrics properly, then you're like, yeah, shit, this is bad. Like what they're singing about is bad.
But then this is the thing. I think eventually you can't. I don't think artists should stop themselves from. I think there's a space in music where you're allowed to say
the most wild shit.
Some stuff. Let's we have to put a cap on it somewhere.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like some of the wildest stuff, but. I just don't. Bashment is just one of the areas where we just have to give it a little blind. Like I'm not gonna lie, we're gonna have to give it a little blind because the whole culture. I think these people.
OG Terry's back.
They're harmless, man. They're not coming from a place of It's just like some of it's just their lyrics and
some of it is
culture.
really degrading though, and it's just like seriously because every other word I swear is like pum pum. I'm like, what? Even I'm saying it. I'm like, what am I singing? Like.
I'm only laughing because I'm thinking one of the biggest songs in university. Pum 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 pum.
Yeah. And I'm there singing it as well.
Oh, I mean,
listen,
that song was mad.
The culture is very much like that though. Like, and a lot. I think there's a part of some Jamaicans are like, they don't like it, and but the culture around it is very sexual. It's very. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So it's very provocative. And if you go to one of them dances, you're going to see people jumping from off a crate onto someone and
the wrestling moves.
Yeah,
I've seen those videos. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like so, it's one of them ones where it's just like cool. Let's just run with it. So, music comes with a certain thing, and different genres of music comes with. Just have to accept it. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I don't, I try not to think into it too much, but I was a little bit taken back by the whole log on thing because I knew there probably were some gay people in the crowd, and I'm like, I'm not really trying to offend these people, and I'm not trying to get the sack. You know them ones.
That's
It's
the
like
same with, but okay, so yeah, you say that there could be gay people in the crowd who don't really like those lyrics, but then there might be feminists in the crowd who don't like listening to songs that degrade them, like bitch and saying bitch and whatever. So what are you just gonna stop playing all
And
those
that's the
tunes?
question. Have we all become too PC now?
I think it's going to get to that point at some point. Like, it's going to get to that at some point. I think it's going to get to a point where, because I remember R. Kelly's a big one, and we all know the situation with R. Kelly. Take away from the fact that he's done some ridiculous things, and the man should be behind bars for some of the stuff that I've heard, if it's true or whatever. He's made some amazing music. Okay.
Yeah.
He's made some amazing music, and it's like for me as a DJ, to, especially if you're running sort of like an older set, to not include him in some of them sets it's almost criminal.
Does he actually talk about those things in his songs?
Well, some people are saying he's referring to some of that stuff when that's what they're trying to say. So when he's singing certain things, it's around about the same time that some of this stuff was going on. So they're saying, and I'm like,
So, like, quick question. Let's do both of you. What's your favorite R. Kelly track, Yen?
I wasn't. Do you know what? I wasn't a massive fan.
Oh, really? Okay, that's right then.
Wasn't massive.
If you had to
Ignition, but that's new. That's kind of newish, like in R. Kelly
terms. That's one of his last one. Okay, what about you, Mace? What's your favorite R. Kelly? Vibe. See, mine is Your Body's Calling. And when I went, exactly. Yeah.
Sing it.
It's on one of my mixes.
No. Oh my God. You know what?
I hear you calling. Here I come, baby. It's to see you. Do you remember it? No, it's on one of my mixes. Yeah, I will send you the link to one of my mixes, and I'll send you the time to listen to it. The thing is, that was just the most beautiful. The beat, if you take out the lyrics, the beat was just the most beautiful thing, R&B. And that's what R. Kelly did so well, because R&B was just the blend of the swing and the R&B, and then the new school R&B coming in. So sometimes, like, he's one of those people that I feel some of his music you cannot deny. You can't deny it, unfortunately.
I just think
I still don't play him.
I think that with some of those incredibly talented people, there's always something. There's always something
behind it.
There's always, so all of the incredibly talented people, there's always something, and eventually we're all going to find out. All the people that we maybe idolized growing up, and all the people that might be doing bits now, you're going to find out something about them that you're like, oh, I don't think you can be that level of almost like a genius in whatever you're doing and not have other crazy shit. So another level of crazy. Yeah, there's got to be some shit in the closet. No one comes all clean.
Okay,
we're not all perfect.
From that then, so obviously you can say you respect R. Kelly for his music, but obviously not for the shit that he's said to have done.
No.
Okay, so applying that sort of mentality to, let's say, do you remember when the George Floyd protests and stuff kicked off, and there was that statue that got toppled, the statue in Bristol?
So
do you remember?
I spoke about this on my other podcast, and we'll get into it. But carry on.
So it's the same sort of like thing, isn't it? So obviously he done a lot of good things for Bristol. Like, I can't remember what it was, but he
done a lot of good things for Britain in general.
Yeah, but he was a bit of a dickhead, because
I had no idea who the fellow was.
So
he had this guy, company, right?
This guy, he ran shipments. He was one of the people that got Britain into that level of economics before. And the only reason why it stopped was because if you've been to Bristol, you can see that they can only really get small ships into their dock. Liverpool then took over the slave trades because they were much bigger, so they can bring more slaves and they can bring more sugar, more all of the stuff that they were getting done in the Caribbean. And that's the only reason why Bristol dried up. But he was one of the first people to get Britain up there like that economically. And my view on it was that the statue shouldn't have been removed. I don't know how you feel, Yen, but I just feel like the statue should have stayed there because of what he did for the country. Even though he was transporting
the back of slavery.
Even if it's the back of slavery. But that's the thing. It's not... But, okay, so we need to... It's not... There's a part of society that needs to understand that a lot of this that we're living today was built off the back of my ancestors and your ancestors, okay? And that's the problem, where people are not recognizing that it was built by those people. And that's why I feel some people have that anger towards it, because we can't change what was happening then. You're forgetting that having a slave was legal. It was legal. It was, whether we think of it as like inhumane or not, and you look at it, I used to have so much anger towards it. But when you look at it, there were mobile phones. Like, bro, like, people couldn't call each other. There was no Instagram, no Facebook. You couldn't have a conversation. Like, life was just totally different back then. It was completely different. And it was run by a small select group of people, powerful people. Now we all have a voice. So if we just, like the George Floyd thing happened, and we were like, no, that's not right. And millions of people across the world said, no, that's not going to happen. And then it sparked some change. So we kind of just need to understand what life was back then and what life is now. And we're all living in England. So for black folks, my stance is, for black folks living in England, we're still benefiting from some of that. Britain took over a lot of this stuff and put their noses ahead economically and built the country into kind of what it is today. We're all still benefiting from some of the heinous shit that was done back then. So I don't think we should celebrate him.
Yeah,
I don't think we celebrate him as like a slave trader. I think he's been celebrated in a way as someone that contributed quite highly to society, to what we live in and what we benefit from now. So if we look at it only in the context that he was in the slave trade, yeah, absolutely, take the statue down. But if you look at it as like, actually, cool, back then, when you take the whole picture into context, I'm like, it's not as heavy hitting as it would be if you just look at it as he's a slave trader. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
That's not just what he did. He wasn't just a slave trader. He helped.
From his standpoint, he was trying to get Britain ahead, and he was representing, of course, because Britain back then was a white country. But people forget that a lot of the black people then, because a lot of the black people and a lot of black families, they're still in Bristol. Like, there's a huge black community in Bristol, because this guy brought them there, and some of these people wouldn't even be there if he didn't. You've got to look at the whole picture. Like, slavery in general was a horrible thing, and we should not celebrate people that are just downright for slavery and all that kind of stuff. But that thing in particular, I also kind of just look at it like the government were proud enough to have the statue up all these years, right? They never thought, oh, this is wrong. Right? So, leave it as it is, because Churchill said a couple of choice words back in the day. But if it wasn't for, if it wasn't for Churchill, we'll probably all be speaking German right now. You got to understand history and the different avenues. I mean, it's a sticky one. It's a really sticky one.
Another huge debate. As I said, I've told you both, I need to develop a panel where it's people representing a couple of the different cultures and ethnic minorities that we have. I just sit down and hash it out.
I think people are going to hate me for the fact that I said about that statue, though. I'm not going to lie. I think people are going to hate me.
How can people can't hate you? Because two things. Like, I don't know who the guy is, for example. I would have a problem if you said King Leopold II statue should have stood in flipping Belgium. I would have a problem there. Listen, this one, I don't even know about the guy. Yeah, I don't even know about the guy to even say enough. But all I know is that he ran a business off the back of slave trade. That's as much as I know. I can't then make a decision based off such superficial facts.
Look at it this way. So we've got entrepreneurs now. Yeah, he's nothing more than an entrepreneur that saw an opportunity. Okay, give us what I'm trying to say. Whether it was right or wrong, people don't get into that. You don't become an entrepreneur because you think you're doing the right thing. You think about it for all the benefits that you're going to get from doing it. You understand what I'm trying to say? If I had a certain level of collateral, I would be investing in certain things. So, and people do invest in certain things. I sometimes invest in different things. Sometimes, let's say you're investing in companies like Apple, you could talk about Apple and how some of the dodgy businesses that they get up to and how it affects other people. In 50 years' time, when maybe people look back at it and think, actually, Apple really treated some people bad in certain parts of the world, and maybe your family got rich off it, what would you tell your family then? Give back the money that your great-great-granddad invested because he kind of treated a small part. I mean, it's a weird conversation. Like, it's a very strange conversation.
It's just a massive topic.
It's massive
that we're not going to delve into because we've been going for a long time now. We're not going to go too much longer. But this is a great question from Terry. OG Terry. I'm tired. Sorry, OT. The problem is, where do you separate the man from the achievement / the music? Can it even be done? For me, I'm just gonna say Chris Brown. That's it. That's my answer.
And he always does.
That's my answer.
He always
explain that.
He always does.
Breezy, listen, yeah. Although Breezy's case is a bit unique because I think men should never hit women. But at the same time, I've always maintained you never know who the dude is on the other side, right? If you raise your hands and smack somebody, be expected to get clapped back. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
Like I'm not agreeing with it at all. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying some people just clap back. Newton's third law of physics. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
That's my stance on it as well.
And I'm not.
What are you saying? Rihanna deserved it. I don't even know the whole situation.
No. I'm not saying no. I'm not saying that she deserved it. I'm not saying that
at all.
I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that you don't know who it is. You raise your hands to somebody, you expect something back.
However,
did Rihanna hit him first? What was the whole story? Did Rihanna?
No, I don't even think anyone really knows to this point.
But
I think because it got highlighted so much is that he hit her. That was it. No one even looked into what really happened. If she instigated something, and I think we've got this. We have to be fair across the board. So we were talking earlier about how women are treated. We have to be fair the whole way. I think we need to recognize that there's some weirdness along the line when it comes to this stuff, and it's not quite fair all the way. So I agree with Kofi. If you slap up a man, not every man has the level of control or is built that way. Some men, if you slap him in the face,
you catch a backhand quickly. It's just a reaction.
Some men will go even further. You're finished. Like you are finished. Like
I'm not condoning
finish him. They will end you. Like seriously.
Yeah, I'll repeat. I'm not condoning
this. Take it and just walk out the door. Right? Yeah, I'm one of them ones out. I'm gonna hold it. And I'm gonna just say, I'm done here. But my grandma said to me, look, if it gets to blows, you need to duck out.
You need to leave because you're in trouble.
That's what my grandma told me. And to be honest, it's a sticky one because depending on the situation, it's an emotional thing. If a woman punches you in the face, and like if she really punches you in the face, like some men just can't cope with that.
Yeah, they'll react. They'll clap back.
They can't cope with that. They cannot cope with that. And I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that you should. My advice to men would be, you know what?
Walk away.
Walk away, because
no matter how many times she hits you, walk away.
You know what I mean? Or sometimes,
in fact, start running.
Right, because it's gonna end you in. You're gonna land in some real fucking hot water. If you respond to that, it's gonna fuck up your relationship. It's gonna fuck up.
It's gonna fuck up your life.
Your life, bro. Like, don't do it. That's my advice. Do not fucking do that.
But going back to my Chris Brown explanation, sorry, Chris Brown, he's an exception because what I've always felt is that the story has never been cleared from both sides. Rihanna has never ever spoken, to my knowledge, of what she did in the car. And although the media portrays Chris Brown as this unstable character who will just lash out, I actually don't think he's like that. I actually really don't think he's like that, especially if you look at him now. Like, the guy just wants to always mind his business most of the time. So I think something must have happened to trigger him. Plus, Chris Brown, I am so sorry, right? His music's undeniable,
and that's the reason why
across the board.
That's the reason why they couldn't cancel him, because he was Chris Brown. Like, they couldn't cancel
undeniable
him because he was such a good artist. They just couldn't throw him under the bus. He just kept coming with hits after hits after hits.
Man dabbled in that Euro dance stuff. He was hanging out with what's it called, Benny Batty.
No, but then he got pushed into that. If you think about it, he had no choice.
That was a tune, man.
Yeah, thank you. See, you can't deny him. You can't deny him.
He got pushed into that because, I mean, it's like we turned up, not we, but like a lot of like the urban community, like a lot of us were like, boy, I don't know, because Rihanna was also equally as big a superstar
that was when David Guetta was banging.
as he was. So it's like, hey, you know, and it just took over. Social media, it just took over, and it was just like, but we don't really. It's a relationship between two people. It's come to blows, and we've kind of just went.
He beat up Rihanna. He shouldn't have done that. Oh no! But what did Rihanna do? That's always been my question. What did Rihanna do?
Yeah, but we don't even. I don't. To this day, I still don't know what happened.
Thank you.
Listen, and to whatever he did, because I remember seeing the pictures on her face, and I'm like, "Rah, bro, whatever you did, you shouldn't have done because you left. Like, you shouldn't have." No, facts. He shouldn't have done that. Like,
no, look at. I'm reading Terry's comment.
I read that as well.
But that's true. But then it's just like we don't. It was their relationship. We don't really understand what really happened, and I feel like we all took it personal, personal.
Yeah, everybody took it into their houses.
Like we started moving a bit crazy, but I still stand on women. Please don't hit men. Men, if a woman hits you, step out the door. Like just go away. Don't retaliate because it's gonna hurt.
It's gonna be bad.
It's gonna hurt.
Be like Jay-Z. Do you remember when he got slapped by Solange in the lift?
Oh yeah, he got clapped. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's having. He was because he was pulling all of these ones. He weren't trying to get involved in that.
Yeah, no, he just stood there and took the slap, innit?
Yeah.
He stood there and took it. But from my knowledge,
be like Jay-Z.
From my knowledge, it's like I heard Jay-Z was doing some ridiculous things to Beyonce, and that's why Solange was kicking off. Like,
of course.
I heard she was just like, "Look, my sister's not going to say much, but I'm gonna slap you up." You know what I mean? I'm gonna take it on myself because what you're doing to my sister is not cool. And that's basically what she did. It's mad. Jay-Z was also a very smart man. So he knew he definitely ain't as cute as Chris Brown.
But he's Jay-Z.
Beyonce is the queen. So you put your hands on Beyonce, it's a wrap for you forever. Yes.
I don't think so. Sorry. I actually don't think so. No, he's Jay-Z. No, he's Jay-Z.
Yeah, he's Jay-Z. Okay, you obviously didn't go to the Did you go to the tour that they had?
Who? Beyonce, Jay-Z and Beyonce, the Bonnie and Clyde tour, whatever it was called.
Yeah, did you go?
No. I don't go to big concerts.
Jay-Z was the sideshow, bro. He was the supporting act.
No, but he wants to. But we always refer back to flipping Wireless 2012.
She's a much bigger superstar than he is.
100%. But in terms of hip hop, right? And how many pies this guy's got his hands in, I don't think he will fade out that easily. I'll tell you what, music-wise, probably. They'll try and cancel him music-wise, but he probably can't. Anyway. He owns flipping Rock Nation. He owns so many. He has.
But that's what I mean.
Cannot.
He probably wouldn't be trying to be on songs and rapping and all that kind of stuff. He'll just fall back.
Well, you sound like Suge Knight.
No, but it's true. He probably wouldn't. He'd probably just be trying to just fall back because he's got his hands in so many pies. He doesn't really even need to rap anymore. If you try to cancel Jay-Z, you're not going to cancel him. You might cancel him by not listening to his music, but he's like, okay, fine. I've still got a hell of a lot of other things that
I can do. And what was you about to ask? Sorry. But no, fine. Going back to Terry's question real quick though. Like, where do you separate the man from the music? Let's say in this case, your personal opinion. Because we got 3 stars. Let's say we got R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, and Chris Brown. Yeah. MJ, arguably the greatest of all. In fact, I'm not saying arguably. He is the greatest of all time. Right. And he done all the madness supposedly he did with kids. Supposedly, I don't know. Lots of people watching this and saying he did it.
I don't even want to talk about it.
You got R. Kelly. We all know what he did. People quick to drop him. Like we can leave R. Kelly. And for me, as I said, Chris Brown. Nah. For me, Chris Brown's a no. Like he's a pass. But where do you separate the badness that these men have done and their music? Because they're always gonna be linked. You're always gonna have the emotional attachment.
Yeah, it's hard. Also with MJ and R. Kelly, they were never actually proven to have done these things, right? It was
Kel's
never.
One, yeah.
For R. Kelly,
yeah, because he was locking chicks up, and that video. I'm sorry, you must have had to see.
I didn't even.
Oh man!
Also, what happened? Was R. Kelly actually got convicted?
You know what? I don't know. Have you watched the whole thing of
the documentary?
Of
course.
No. I think what you do is like when you get some time, because you clearly sound like you've got a ridiculous schedule, but when you got some time and just watch it piece by piece
on
and
Netflix.
I can't remember where it is. I'm not if just search online, you might find it somewhere. But if you get hold of it, just watch the whole thing, and then it's distasteful, man. It's distasteful. But
So you guys actually think he did horrible shit?
Listen,
nah, all makes sense.
Judging from what these women are saying,
and I was a huge Aaliyah fan,
and there's a lot of women, by the way. There's a lot of women saying a lot of in-depth stuff. It's like, I don't know, but it's hard. It's very difficult unless he gets properly convicted by a jury. It's a difficult one because what these women are saying is real deep shit, man.
Hold on. Yeah, imagine defending him on that case, and you will have every single piece of evidence. In fact, what we'll do, let's do this, Mason. Yeah, Yen, watch it.
Okay.
When you've watched it, come back to me. We'll get you back on, and let's see. Like, you're his defense attorney. Let's see if you will defend the guy. No, you can't do it.
You've got to watch the documentary first. You got to watch it first, and then
if Mr. R. Kelly is telling me he didn't do it, if he's telling me he didn't do it, and also the evidence in front of me is inconclusive, then we're going to trial. I'm not going to advise.
Back in 2003, 2004, that video of him pissing on that girl. That is your evidence alone. I'm so sorry.
Okay, wait. How old was the girl?
15.
Was it consensual? Okay,
no.
15. All right. If they were 15, that's statutory anyway. That's statutory rape.
Exactly. Listen.
But also,
he's still not in prison.
Pissing on the girl is not rape.
What is it? Defamation of a human being.
that comes under some category somewhere.
That's a good question. What could it be charged under? And she's not consenting to this.
Well, we don't know. That's the thing. We don't know. Because if you look at the documentary...
If you're a minor. I mean, you can't consent to sex if you're a minor, full stop. But if it's anything short of rape, could it really be sexual assault? Because, I don't know.
But again, the documentary sheds so much light on so many topics, which you just go, oh, snap. Makes sense now. And you go, oh snap! That's why I can't, like, my favorite song by him. I cannot listen to anymore because
so why didn't if this evidence, these videos showed him doing, like, it was conclusive of whatever he was alleged to do, why did they not just bring a case against him then if it was that easy? Or
they are still going, Yen. Yeah, they've been going since 2015 or no, 2004, 2005. I couldn't tell you. It's incredible. The guy has.
It's because
it's
you know
clear,
this.
Like, they've got evidence of him locking people away and that.
Yeah, but
like,
some of the women don't want to come forward. Some of the women are really like they're still kind of supporting him. From what I've seen, some of them are still supporting him, and I think that's what's casting a lot of doubt in people's minds. But they're like, well, this woman's saying he didn't do it, and this woman's saying she was okay with it, kind of thing. So it's like, it's kind of
contradictory information.
Yeah,
you paid them enough information to throw the case.
It's like you said, it's not all conclusive that he, it's not open. It's like, oh yeah, he did it. It's a wrap. It's not that. It's the jury's out. It's like the Michael Jackson thing. I think his one's worse than the Michael Jackson thing now because there's much more people saying that he did this.
Michael didn't do it.
But with the Michael Jackson thing, we will honestly never know.
He didn't do it. We talking about.
We will never know. Like, we will never know because no one. He wasn't convicted. And I think one person took the money. See, there's a problem with taking the money. There's a problem with taking the money. Like, there's a huge problem. That opens up, like, a different, like, avenue. Because, like, why did you take the money?
Yeah, because no one's going to believe you then afterwards. Even if you try and come out and say, yeah, you did this, but you took the money. So we don't believe what you say now, innit?
If you took the money back then, you're going to have to keep your mouth closed now, unfortunately. Like, for me. But we're kind of looking at, like, men out there do ridiculous things, and obviously with COVID and everything, I think domestic violence has gone up.
Yeah,
massively, and it's obviously not just from men. Women are out there slapping up.
Oh
men
yes,
as well.
sorry. Can I ask a question, please? about this sensitive subject of rape. What is the actual figures of the false rape claims? Do you know?
I don't actually know.
I'm only asking because go on.
Reports of rape,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm only asking because there was a girl I was at work who I was speaking to, who because do women get a payout or something like that in some cases?
Yeah, well, not victims. There's this scheme that compensates victims basically, and you can make. It's called this Criminal Injuries Compensation Authority,
And it's
and
unlimited times that it
applies
can
to.
sorry.
Yeah, I can't remember the the process and the eligibility criteria, but I know that as a victim, if someone's been convicted and that person's committed a crime against you, you can get compensation for it. Like, I don't know the amount, so it's a whole different sort of. You got to go to a lawyer that actually deals with those sort of claims, and it's not even a criminal thing anymore. It's more like a civil claim, like after
For
that.
rape?
No. Claiming
Oh,
for
what to
injuries.
say? Yeah.
No,
Okay.
sorry, no.
No, because go on. You finished.
Yeah, no, so I was just yeah, you can get compensation if you're a victim.
Fine, I'm asking that because there's a girl at work who was explaining something about somebody she knew who claimed multiple times, probably about 6 times, of rape in the short space of time. And each time she would go to this committee that you just mentioned and get a payout, right? And then
But
what
then
happened
you
is they
have to be
reopened.
convicted.
Huh?
So that person would have been convicted of it.
Exactly. Then it came out there was a recording that she stupidly fell into, that she actually falsified all of these claims,
Right.
and these people have on the back of that been convicted. Now I'm asking that because there's a lot of dudes out there who throw out the argument that women use the rape thing very flippantly and easily just to destroy some men's lives. I was
Yeah.
only asking because I wanted to know if there was any, like, if you knew the figures, because it's such a dangerous thing,
It's a
and there are
delicate
some
thing, man.
vindictive women who actually do just go out there and say, "Cool, he raped me," and then it's like, "Okay, cool, prove. How can you prove the rape?" If a woman's an incredible actress, let's say, and just plays the part to
Yeah.
a T, then how do you go about it is the question. And it's so sad because it's such a real topic, but it's getting I feel abused. The term is getting abused by women who just either want to make a quick buck or destroy a life.
I mean, you've got to be pretty sick in the head to
There's a lot of them.
allege something about a man just to get compensation, just to get a bit of money.
I don't think it's compensating. I think sometimes there's a little bit of vindictive behavior going on. I think sometimes because men sometimes treat women in certain types of ways, and sometimes women just go, you know what, yeah, you prick, I'm going to say you raped me. And
it's happened, yeah.
we're gonna go down that road. I don't think all women are like. I think a lot of women out there definitely getting raped, and some of it's not being picked up. And the whole subject of rape is that's why I don't even want to talk about it, because I don't know enough about it, and it's so sensitive as well. Like, it's hella sensitive, man. It's just like,
yeah,
like okay. So my stance is definitely go to trial, get all the evidence and all that, and if it's a nasty crime, it's wrong. But for the people that are out there that crying wolf, they have to get equally as fucked up treatment as the man that actually gets convicted of doing so, or the woman or whatever. Because obviously rape happens with gay people as well. It happens across, anybody that says that it happened and it didn't happen. We got to throw them in jail too. Like, they need to go.
Well, they do. So if the whoever's making the false claim of rape, if it's proven against them, then they can be prosecuted for it and they can go to jail for it. But obviously,
how often does that happen though?
Probably not a lot. But
right.
Just because the numbers of people claiming false rape probably is a lot lower than actual rape claims, itself. So the numbers are very low, and then also to get a conviction out of that is crazy. It's rare. It's very rare.
I was going to say, is it difficult to convict someone of rape? Like, is it? Because I've heard stories of them really putting a girl on the stand and really going after. And I mean, for women, I can't imagine what that feels like to have someone do some crazy shit like that to you.
Yeah.
and have the prosecutor, like, would that be someone like you though? Would you be going at this woman saying, trying to really dig into her testimony?
So I wouldn't. So I'm a solicitor, so I don't question the victims or the complaint. So I'm sort of behind the scenes. But the defense barrister, so the guy who I would instruct to represent the client in court, they would question the complainant. So we call them complainant because at that time we don't call them victim, because we say they're not a victim. Nothing's been proven against the client, so they're the complainant. But yeah, they would ask questions, but it's not like you see in the American movies or courtroom dramas where you see all the aggressive, like, finger pointing, you did this, you're a liar, he didn't rape you, blah blah. Like, it's not like that in the English courts. It's everything's very calm. It's very gentlemanly. Like, it's a bit weird, to be honest, because everyone's like quite nice to each other. Like honestly, the defense and prosecutor, they probably are friends. Like, they probably know each other. Like, they probably go for bloody beers together. But it's not. The jury, for one, would hate it to see a defense barrister absolutely gunning down the victim, the alleged victim, the complainant. They would hate that.
I think there's a lot of myths out there that we got to dispel. Like, what are some of the myths that you feel like you got to dispel when it comes to law and how it's conducted?
Oh God, there's so many, but the first one is we tackled the
defendant victim
already, apparently guilty. Like, we can't do that. There's routes to, if you say you're guilty, I can't then defend you. Say you're not guilty. So that's one that everyone has to understand, because I have a lot of clients who come to me and say and expect me to basically break the law for them to get them off. Like, no, that's not
what you're there for. You're meant to know the loopholes, man.
If it's a legal loophole, then I'll find that loophole and I'll basically work that to your advantage.
You basically shag the system.
If it's, look, I don't go above the law. I do things and I defend my clients to the letter of the law. I don't try and go, circumvent the law. If there's a loophole there, then there's a loophole. Like, it's legal. So why wouldn't I try to exploit that loophole in the best interest of my client?
Fair enough. It's true. It's very true.
If it's fair, use it. If it's legal, use it.
Yeah.
Other things. Oh, there's one where complainant. So it's usually domestic abuse cases where, for example, the woman has made a complaint against their partner for beating them, assaulting them, and then after they don't want to cooperate with the police, and they say, no, I don't want to pursue the case anymore. A lot of victims think it's their decision whether the case goes forward or not. But once that victim gives a statement to the police, it's sort of out of their hands whether they want to continue with it or not. Damn. Because if the victim, if he or she doesn't want to cooperate anymore, it doesn't really matter. The police has the statement now; they can pursue the case. So it's not a case of we've made up now. We're in a relationship. We've made up. I don't want to press charges. That's an American term anyway. I don't want to press charges against my partner anymore. I want to drop the case. It's too late. It's a police's hand. Case. So if you are in that situation, if you are if you do have if you are in a volatile relationship, or you are the one being assaulted, whatever, just think, like, very carefully. I mean, make the report to police, but just understand that it's out of your hands after you.
As soon as it goes down. Cool. Anyway, guys, it's midnight. Bro, we've done it again, man. Bro, we've done it again, man. Listen, what's wrong with us? I'm sorry, we talk too much.
No, it's cool. It's fine. It's been good, man. It's been insightful and interesting.
You nervous still?
No, I finished the whole drink. I had a bit of
that? Listen, later, you're sipping while... Shit. We need to get these people supporting us, man. Hey, should we get Uncle Ray to flip and sponsor this show?
100. Listen, 100. Listen, me and Uncle Ray, we're gonna have a conversation.
This would be like drink champs, bro.
I feel like over like maybe 2018, 2019 was when it was really bad.
What,
And
Ray?
yeah, it was really bad for me and my friends. So me and my friends would and some of them are listening now. We would go through a bottle in a night, easy.
That's not healthy, bro.
Easy. Yeah. I've got one friend that drinks it. He starts the party with doing shots of Ray, and then it's downhill from there.
I like that friend. That's how it should start.
Nah, because have you had Ray nephew? Yeah.
I think I've had it like twice in my life, and that was not voluntary. Like someone gave it to me, I didn't know what it was, and then I found out after. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Listen, next carnival you touch, have a couple of shots of Ray. I'm telling you, it'll be the best carnival of your life.
Talk about carnival. I tapped out one year. I tapped out heavily one year because of Ray. So what happened was, schoolboy error, really. I thought I was on top, so I started drinking it with my KA because you need to throw some KA in there if you're doing carnival. No. I did the grape. I had a grape or something like that. Something basic. And I had to because that's a harsh taste. You need some sweet to sweeten it down. So I started drinking. We left Euston. By the time we got to carnival, I'd already drank half the bottle.
You on the bus or on the train? Actually, I had to be on the bus. 18.
Yeah, we got the bus.
18. Yeah.
And this is half a bottle of Ray. Yeah, half a bottle of Ray. From Euston to carnival, half a bottle. I was like,
not that far either.
It's not even really licking me that much because I'm thinking of a Ray connoisseur. I'm like,
idiot.
So I obviously as soon as I land, I'm like, where's the food seller? Picked out a food seller that I liked. I was like, yeah, they look clean. I'm gonna hit them guys. I hit my food.
Bang. Idiot move. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I poured the next half and I was so gassed. I was so friendly. Imagine I spoke to a million people that year. I woke up, there were so many friends requests and I added random people. I'm like, who the fuck are you?
You had a good time.
Inbox, I was like, rah.
You had a good time.
Long story short, I had to just pull up in one, like they got them massive kind of Victorian style houses.
Mm-hmm.
I had to pull up in someone's like driveway up to their door and just chill for a couple of hours because I was wounded. I was wounded.
KO'd for that long.
My cousin had me on his shoulders. It was terrible. Wounded.
What's the point? Like you go to carnival to enjoy, the surroundings and stuff.
Well, sometimes it just happens.
You know what it is?
It just happens sometimes.
It was a poor decision by me. I'm not gonna lie. It was a poor decision. It was because I thought that I could handle it. I thought I was, and I didn't pace myself. I didn't eat enough food. It was hot as well.
Yeah. Terry's right though. It's not Ray because you beat Ray, but your nephew will come and lick you down. Easy.
I love that drink though.
It's dangerous to be that licked at carnival and be a girl. You can't do that when you're a girl. You can't do that. So
you have to have some real friends with you.
That's a privilege. That's a privilege for the boys, man. That's a privilege for the boys because girls at carnival listen. I do not trust some of them dodgy looking guys. I'm telling you,
mad.
Especially with the way I see guys trying to collect girls, like grabbing them up and that. Listen.
Bro, the thing is, like, it's mad because they just generally feel like they can walk through the crowd and drapes anybody. Anybody. And then, cool.
You know what? Saying that, though, I miss carnival. COVID, thank you very much. But I hope you piss off in time. Facts, because
it's not going to happen, though, this year.
I suppose they've already extended the thing till March.
It might not come back. If you think about it, carnival may not come back.
We'll start our own one, bro.
No, they might just honestly, because obviously the locals have hated it for a long time. So, and the police definitely hate it because they don't want to deal with it. It's the budget for them that they probably don't want to spend, right? So, it may not come back. And
that's crazy.
That'll be a sad thing. Like seriously, something that's been here for almost 60, 70 years, something like that. It's a long time because I think they started it way back in the Windrush times. So it's been there for a long time, and if they get rid of it, that'd be anybody that hasn't experienced it. It's one of the best parties on the planet, man. Like seriously, It's one of the best parties on the planet. I would love
since 1966.
Damn, see that?
Wow.
I would listen. I would love if we got past COVID and they announced that Carnival was back on. I'd be a very happy guy. Like seriously.
Hey,
it's not happening this year. I'm telling you that now. It's not. I'm sorry to burst the bubble.
Shut down the dreams.
I'm not surprised, to be honest.
I'm being optimistic. Anyway. Optimistic, man. I would love for it to happen this year. I would love to even travel this year, but I don't even know if that's going to happen either.
We'll see. I mean, listen, it's midnight. I mean, we carry on because I wanted to talk to you about 2020, and because I know you moved from the firm to doing your own stuff, but boy, it's midnight.
Yeah, no,
it's 5 minutes past midnight.
I think next time we can let's do it with some drinks.
She wants to turn this into drink champs.
Yeah, she wants to turn it into drink champs. People slumped on their computer screens and shit.
I'll be like Noriega, wear my sunglasses, singing Purple Rain, Purple Rain. I'll be singing some madness. But why not?
No, but it's been a sick convo though, man. Like, appreciate it.
We actually can do that. Actually, I know somebody who makes some dope cocktails.
Right.
Lots with rum based. Do you like rum?
Yeah, but yeah, I do, but it's not good for me.
So it's gonna be a rum based punch.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'll talk to him. You never know. Actually, get on. It's called
potion. And then we just have all the mixes and stuff to hand and just mix.
No, it comes in like a milk bottle. It's like a pink color. It's like a pink color. It's just got a question mark on it. It's called potion. Sick drink. It's a beautiful drink.
Imagine that just looks like a nightmare waiting to happen.
Bro. Yeah, it looks like the Joker created it. Literally, it looks like the Joker created it. That's how mad the thing looks. But
it's on sale in the shops or?
No, it's just him by himself. I'll send you the link. Actually, I'll send you the link. It's just him by himself. He started not too long ago. It's just him and one business partner.
Promoting, man.
And I wanted to get actually to one of the Levels events that we did last year, but not last year in 2019. But lots of clubs are just a bit resistant about bringing in something like that. But topic for another time. But anyways, wrapping up. Everybody, thanks for tuning in today. As I said, it was a very interesting one, learning about the criminal justice system. But yeah, thanks, Yen, for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Anything you want to say before you go?
Not really, to be honest. I think everyone's like ducked now, but I know you've been plugging my Instagram pages, so yeah, just obviously follow me. Yeah, I'm always here. It's best to have me on speed dial just in case anything happens.
Yeah, man.
Listen, facts. If anything happens, I'm gonna leave your number for my partner. Say, yo, hit.
You know who to hit up. I'll add Yen's information into the description. I don't think I did that like an idiot, but I'll add it into the description. But obviously everybody can see it there. Hit her up for all your troubles. Bug her at 24 hours a day. She doesn't mind, despite what she said. She does not mind.
If it's an emergency. If it's an emergency, that's best. Okay. Hey.
But yeah, I've been Cases. We've had Mason, and we've got the lovely Yen. Please follow us on the Instagram at New Levels, which is across the bottom now. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel, please, because it just helps us build this platform to give you more interesting conversations like we've had tonight. Next week, we've actually got probably one of the main topics of the past 2 years being addressed. We've got my pal Kieran, who studies bioinformatics, and he's going to come and talk to us about COVID. He studies viruses and all this kind of stuff. So
it'll be an interesting one.
This should be good.
Yeah, so hopefully he can.
I've got hella questions for that. Boy. I hope he doesn't mind being asked a lot of questions. Because
no, he's a fellow DJ as well. That's what's mad about him. Like he's a lab guy, but boy, he produces some of the nicest house tech.
You know what I like about DJs is the fact that, and even like people like Yen and stuff, is the fact that we all go and do a madness in the dance.
Madness, yeah. When the dance is on,
we all go and do a madness in the dance. But then you wouldn't even think that on a Monday morning that I'm back in the gym training clients and shit, or Kofi's in the hospital.
The funniest thing.
Like,
do you know, before we go, the funniest thing, I'll tell you this story. Yeah, I was in. I went to was a house party in Brixton, but it's not a house party. It was actually a deep like party because it was just this guy. Like I knew it was my friend's boyfriend, but he does this party every year in his backyard in Brixton. But his yard is massive. It's so big, like it draws such a big crowd that he has like people selling food in his back garden.
Sick.
Like, that's how deep the house party is. You got DJ, you got a whole DJ set up. It was sick party. But yeah, it was so funny because I see one of my clients walk past me. I see one of my clients at the house party.
And what did you do? What did you do?
I just stood there for one. He walked past first, and I was like to my head, was that him? Like, that couldn't have been him. But I thought it must have been because he lives in Brixton, innit?
Right.
And he walked past again. I was like, oh my God, I had to holler at him. I was like, yo, so what are you doing here? And he was like, what are you doing here?
Exactly.
Like, what are you doing here? I was like, I probably should be the
My
one
legal representative up into the dance, yeah?
Funny. That was so funny, man. That was jokes.
Nah, that's mad. That is mad.
But hey, that's bound to happen, isn't it? Sometimes it's bound to happen. But
yeah.
As I said, next week, tune in, guys. We've got Kieran. It's been lovely having Yen on tonight. I'm just surprised we've done it again, going until midnight. This is becoming too much of a habit.
This is what you always do.
Yen, I'm serious. It's mad.
We get carried away with the conversation, man. Like, seriously, we do get carried away with the conversation. But yeah, it turns into
unintentional
3-hour chat, and it's like, ooh.
Yeah, like last week, my pal Saad, he was proper nervous coming on, and I said, "Bro, trust me, don't worry." Next thing you know, casual 3-hour conversation like this one. Again, you was a bit like, "Oh no, I'm a bit nervous." No, don't be, because we'll just
it just turns into casual chat, I guess, isn't it?
Exactly.
And that's what I tell everybody who comes on. It actually is just a casual chat. We just want to keep it honest, and we're just going to ask you just honest questions that we just feel that need to be answered. That's it. And we've got everybody else who chimes in with their bits.
And then we get you on next time if we missed any questions and ask you some more questions. Like, that's basically how it works.
That's exactly.
I'm down for it now. Now I know how it works. I'm cool on that.
Exactly.
Anytime.
But yeah, guys. Thank you guys, everybody, for tuning in. Once again, thank you, Yen. We'll catch you next week with Kieran. We'll try not to be late. In fact, I won't be late because I'm not finishing work late next week. So we'll all be good to go. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Peace and good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care, man.
Learn life. There's levels to the shit.